So Verizon, yeah.
I mean, they basically
Here, try talking into that thing. And if you want, you can. So Matt here. What's up, guys? We got Matt. Billy, come on over, dog. Matt is Pat and Suzi's. Well, Matt is not Pat's brother, but brother-in-law, maybe.
But in a way, we are
right.
Brother-in-law.
Okay, so Pat, so Suzi is our good friend, and Veronica's really good friend, and she has a sister who's amazing, and we did her wedding, and we did Suzi's wedding, and they're both really cool videos.
Dude, we just watched that video again the other day.
Oh, really?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really
Timeless.
touching. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
like, it goes in hard.
Well,
but it's also touching in the middle. Like,
yeah,
perfect
but
balance.
they gave us their fucking. You guys went to. They gave us their trip, like their honeymoon, that we got to start it with like a crazy honeymoon shit.
That was the craziest part because you thought, what am I getting myself into here? I'm
Right.
not sure because
Yeah.
it feels kind of like almost like a tripped out horror movie in the beginning. We're like bungee jumping and like doing that. Yeah, we did our honeymoon in New Zealand.
Right.
We did the honeymoon in New Zealand.
Right.
And
Yeah, and I remember seeing some of those clips, and then I asked you guys, I'm like, yo, send me whatever you can from that trip. But yeah.
it worked out perfect. We had so much footage from that.
Yeah, so Matt is Suzi's sister's husband, and he's super in the fucking tech. Like, dude was showing me like the 3D. So you work for Yahoo or Verizon?
Yeah, I worked
Yahoo.
for Verizon.
That was weird.
I've been with Yahoo for a while. Yeah, I went there straight after college. So I was at Yahoo for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And then Yahoo was acquired by Verizon. And then we formed a new company called Verizon Media.
Which is...
So Verizon's business is split up into 3 big businesses. You have the Verizon Consumer Group, so that's like Verizon Wireless. Like they do your phone, you're getting your 4G, your 5G coming soon, and then Verizon Media is like mainly a collection of media brands and advertising platform and technology platforms for media. And then they have Verizon also has a third business called their Business Group, and that's where they do a lot of like B2B stuff. So they're like working directly with like governments to do infrastructure, that type of shit.
Right.
You know?
I'm going to get a water for us all.
Oh, cool.
Interrogate away.
Hey, Billy.
Oh, hi. What's your name?
Hey, my name's Matt.
It's what?
It's Matt.
Matt. Hi, nice to meet you, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
Whoa, I'm feeling a little funky with this.
Oh, what happened?
I did that, but I think it's this vape. I don't know why it's affecting me.
Oh, what kind of vape is it?
Just a regular 50% nicotine salt thing.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So, Matt, are you from this area?
Yeah, I live down in Santa Monica.
But where were you born?
I was born down in Redondo Beach, and then I grew up in Ohio, actually, in Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
How about you?
I was born in Canoga Park, which is now West Hills, in the valley. That's cool. And so you work for Verizon.
Yeah.
How do you know Pat?
Oh, how do I know Pat? So I met Pat and Veronica through my sister-in-law, Suzi. And we met years ago, and Pat did our wedding video, which was really fun. And then, yeah, I don't know. We just met years back, and we've just been friends since.
So are you good friends with Veronica, or is...
They're Coachella friends.
Yeah.
No, they're good friends. But
We're good friends, too.
Matt, like, I don't know. He's just like the cool, smart... I don't want to say nerd, but like maybe kind of.
I'll own that.
Yeah, but like fun, like I don't know, and
I like
they
nerd out on shit. Pat, would you consider yourself a nerd?
no.
I
mean, I in some ways like, but I just wasn't. I mean, I don't know. Like
It depends
so
on like
funny.
what that
I
word
love that.
means.
I kind of want to be. I
Yeah.
would be. I just my shit was way too crazy for that.
I feel like the word nerd to me
I definitely have attributes, tech attributes like nerd. Yeah.
But to me, like nerd and tech are different things. Nerd is more like obsessing into like these like niche things. Like that's what I get on nerd vibes.
100%. I obsess
that's what I was
over
saying.
Star Wars, Prometheus, sci-fi.
Yeah, come
all
on,
the
dude.
nerdy shit. Like, I'll fucking algorithms, fucking social media.
Somewhere along the line, nerd went from a bad term to a good term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had a great time in Coachella and had some psychedelic Coachella experiences.
Such a
and-
bummer that Coachella's pushed out.
Are you like a good kid? You went to high school and did well, and went to college and did well, and you got a good job, and
Yeah.
Yeah, you crush.
That's amazing.
Huh.
I
Thank
rarely
you.
meet people like that. You're like a phenomena.
I feel really.
Well, I think I actually was really excited when he was in there because I was like, dude, we need to get someone on that's like not a fucking hope to die drug addict, alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we have, Mikey is pretty successful, and I'm probably spacing. We have a lot of great guests on this podcast.
Yeah, they're good and successful people, but they've been like.
Most of our guests are alcoholics, but I love that you're not. And we were just talking a little bit about God. I was just saying how it always. I just played him the Alan Watts. I posted that on the Instagram today.
That
right?
resonated. Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Which part?
Which part?
I mean, what did you play for him?
Let's see if he can
Oh, the Alan Watts thing.
try to reiterate it.
Yeah, it was basically he told a story about a man who had a horse who ran away. So people were asking him, "Well, are you?" What was it, dude? Oh yeah, people were asking him, "Oh, aren't you upset that you lost your horse?" "Oh, maybe." And then the horse came back with a bunch more horses, so it was like a good thing. Oh, how does that make you feel? I don't know, maybe it's okay. And then his son got injured on the horse. It's basically showing like your perception of positive or negative things is just relative. And that if you approach things from a state of emptiness, then to me, it's actually about expectation. It's like, what are your expectations about a situation? And you approach it from a place of emptiness, then you can be happy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I look at it as like you just don't know what circumstances, you don't know what's going to happen. And often things that are bad are good or good or bad. But he's saying there's no good and bad. I don't know. Man, you're going to have to do a lot of talking, which I'm glad you do because I'm just out of it.
Okay, so Verizon are they going to come out with like a browser? Yahoo is their browser, right?
Well, we don't make a browser. We're a website. We make apps. So Verizon and Verizon also doesn't make phones. You said you thought they made phones. Verizon basically builds all the infrastructure to bring service to your phone. So you can make phone calls, so you can get on the internet.
So who makes the phone that you buy from Verizon?
Usually Apple, but like depends how you ride.
Really?
Is Verizon
Yeah.
the company that contracted with the government to put 5G on all the light posts and stuff like that?
We are putting 5G around. I'm not sure if it's contracted with the government, but yeah, we are putting 5G all around. It's gonna change. It's gonna significantly change the way we live. That's for sure.
Because it's faster.
Yeah, significantly faster. Not just faster. It's like higher download speeds. So you can download a lot more data fast, but you can also upload things a lot faster.
So wait, we don't have 5G right now?
No.
But why does it say 5 on the phone when you have service? It says 5. What is that?
5GE or what?
Yeah, I don't know. 5 something.
5G. It says 5G.
It says 5G.
No.
No.
Not from Verizon. Not yet, I don't think.
Well, I have AT&T.
That's 5GE, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so they came out. Basically, 5G represents a fundamental change in the infrastructure that allows for internet to come to your phone. And one way to think...
5GE.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I mean, it says 5G, and there's like a little E, right? Like, what is... I'm like thinking the whole time, like...
From what I understand about it, that's more of a marketing ploy. That doesn't actually represent
5G.
full 5G infrastructure rollout and all the advantages. I mean, for example, like that iPhone doesn't have the chip necessary to to receive faster internet from the new 5G network. So it's not true 5G.
So is 5G like a Verizon thing
Every company is rolling out their own infrastructure
for 5G?
It's kind of, think about it this way, like when you have phone service, when you're in different places, sometimes you have service with AT&T and you don't have service with Verizon.
Yeah.
It's not equal.
I mean, that's the only reason I have a phone from AT&T is because of this specific location. I like Verizon better, hands down.
Yeah.
They have way better service most of the places.
Yep.
But here, AT&T is a little better.
Dead spot. Yeah, it makes sense.
And also where my parents live, which is weird.
So you're saying we're going to all have to buy new phones for 5G?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's
But you'll always have current support for 4G.
I see.
Yeah,
There's
it's
gonna-
backward compatible, which
There'll
is
be
good.
a new phone. There's only going to be a new phone every fucking 6 months at the
Yeah,
most from now on till the end. I mean, it's just going to keep getting. Technology's just growing exponentially.
But yeah, 5G is going to enable a lot of really cool stuff to happen for sure.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I mean, some people. I definitely understand the very small, limited thinking of like, no, I don't want technology. I just don't.
I have a...
No, I'm not saying you're that way. I'm saying
No, but Angela was, and she
Yeah.
explained to me how not only is it's like 1,000 times the wave. It's not the same as what we're using now.
That's right. It is different.
It's like 1,000 times stronger.
5G.
Well,
Yeah, and it's
no, that's
what
not
is-
right.
I can't remember.
So it's basically transmitting information over a higher frequency.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
instead of a wave, it's like a.
Yeah, that's right. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
strength of that wave is actually a lot less. Like, for example, the waves that are powering your phone right now are more like that,
Yeah.
lower frequency, but those are actually stronger. That can go through doors, it can go through windows, it can go through people. 5G is going to be much higher frequency, which can't go through this mic, it can't go through me. It just like hits it and dies, basically.
Really?
So
Yeah.
then, how do you get it in your house? You have to special equipment or something.
Yeah, there's going to be there's a lot more of these smaller nodes that are going to be in the street on like light posts and stuff, and then they're basically all kind of mirroring the frequency around them, so it creates like a mesh network.
Interesting. And then it
Yeah.
can come through because it's close. Or-
Yeah, but they're developing a lot of technology that allows for, because basically you'll have 5G in your house because it'll be driven by your router and your Wi-Fi over time as well.
So they're like legitimately like installing a bunch of shit all over the place right now.
Huge,
Oh yeah,
huge.
it's massive infrastructure overhaul.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big change.
And no one even knows like what's happening. I mean,
mean,
like you do.
I
but
do,
like,
but-
but normal people don't even realize that
No.
Verizon and AT&T and all these companies have just been grinding for the past like year or more.
Well, that's what I mean
Probably
by
not,
contracting
yeah.
with the government, because they want to use all the structures that already exist to put little whatever thing.
I mean, I know that Verizon definitely has relationships with the government. That's just not the part that I'm involved in, because I work purely on the consumer end. Like, I work on apps like Yahoo Mail, like HuffPost, Yahoo.com.
Huffington Post.
Well, that's the old name. Now it's HuffPost.
So HuffPost is a massive blog or website.
Website, yeah.
And it's owned by Verizon now?
Verizon Media. It was owned by Verizon before Yahoo was acquired.
So Verizon Media. So what? I mean, is there? Why am I not like understanding? Are you guys making movies or?
No, we run basically like news websites and communication tools like Yahoo Mail. I mean, Yahoo Mail is massive.
Yeah.
It's like the second biggest email client after Gmail.
Whoa.
We have like hundreds of millions of users.
Yeah, I'm on Yahoo.
It's
I have a Yahoo. It's like my older account.
Yeah.
But I still rock it for. It's actually my Apple username is a Yahoo email.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think our email client's actually really good. I use Gmail for work because I actually find it to be more of an enterprise focused app.
You call it a client.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's typically when we're talking about software development. And when you say client side, that would be the software developers that are building the app, like that you use on your phone or the website that you use on your computer. And then back end or server side would be the engineers that are writing all the services that power that experience, like provide all the data to the phone, for example.
So what does your job look like? I mean, you walk into your office and you sit down in front of your computer, and what sort of things do you do?
So I lead product for all media experiences across all those
So
brands.
you're like a manager, kind of?
Yeah, I'm a product manager. So I work really closely with engineers and designers. And I'm basically, the way to think about it is like the CEO of the product that I oversee. So I work really closely to set the roadmap for all the features that we're going to be building in the product. Like one of the products I oversee is the article page on yahoo.com. So have you ever looked at an article on Yahoo before or HuffPost?
So you make sure the content going out is
I actually developed the product itself. So if you go and use the
product, like,
so like if I can send you like a link to an article on yahoo.com right now, like that experience, I'll just show you. It's on my
so you mean the technical, like how it? I don't get it. So I'm very not techie. So
oh yeah, don't even worry about it, dude. So see how when I go to yahoo.com on my phone, how it loads up, and like this whole thing is an experience. Like I work really closely with engineers and designers, so we design the look and feel of this page.
I see the design, the layout, how you operate it, all
and then
that
like how
sort
all
of
the interactions work. Like so, like this article experience is one of the experiences that I overlook. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you work closely with them to have the page come and work the way it works.
Yeah, so we oversee, making sure that the page loads really fast, making sure that the design is clean and you have a good layout, that there's a good balance. There's not too many ads. That's another thing I oversee, is making sure that there's a nice balance of good user experience, but we're also making revenue and bringing in money.
And so to produce that, what does that look like? Is that all coding stuff, or?
Yeah, in order to actually create it, it's predominantly writing software.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
designing
designing. We do a lot of work like in Photoshop and Sketch.
Yeah, I can understand that. I just have no idea like how you make it work. I just like what like.
Yeah.
Most people don't. It's the HTML, right? Or is it?
Yeah, there's lots of different like software languages that we use.
So you like get that too, huh?
Yeah, I'm a little bit.
You're not
right
programming,
now,
but you get it, kind of.
I mean, right now I have really good knowledge at like a system architecture level. I mean, I studied software development for like 6 years, so I used to be a developer. Didn't find as much gratification out of that.
Right.
I got a lot more gratification out of like leading teams, focusing on solving people's problems with software, and like working on cool media formats,
like a problem being like, oh, they got stuck here.
Yeah.
Or like they didn't, this wasn't user friendly, or, yeah. So because like last time we were together, he was showing me this really cool 3D.
Yeah, I can show you some cool 3D shit.
Plus he was showing me Quibi, or wait.
Oh yeah. I showed you that.
Wait, that's the video app.
Yeah.
Vertical videos.
I don't think they're doing very well now though.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
kind of, I saw an email of Bob Lefsetz. You know what Bob Lefsetz is?
I don't know. No.
He's just this guy. He's like got this massive email thing, and he's usually right about a lot of shit. And he was saying how Quibi, I don't know, but it wasn't good. Something about how it was not going to work because of something.
So you work with artists and engineers. Like, do you have an artist who like plans layouts and pictures? And so you get to be somewhat creative and stuff. Well, that's fun.
And manage it.
It's a nice balance. Yeah.
It sounds like the kind of the perfect. I'm like very much like that too. Like I don't want to edit the whole video, but I like to be able to, and then I also, I like with Ridge, I get to do, I didn't actually make the video. but I was like the one that was able to.
I feel like it's really comparable in that way, honestly.
Yeah, it's like you're a producer in a way.
Basically.
Manager, producer.
It's very similar to producer, executive producer when creating content.
Which is dope.
And I also get to work with a lot of content creators too.
Yeah.
Because we have a huge staff that makes content for Yahoo and HuffPost, all our brands. We have other brands like TechCrunch and Autoblog. We've got a lot of brands.
So he was saying that he went to see ByteDance like 2
Dude, look at
years
this.
ago.
Look at this. We just did this deal with
Yeah, Billy will trip on this shit.
here.
Oh my God, where's that car?
Over there. Yeah, look, hold the phone over there. See that?
Oh.
Wait, there's the car is on a black mat.
Yeah.
What's the mat?
I
thought
think
that
it's
was
just-
I thought that was my yoga mat.
So it just puts an image that's not there.
But you can actually get up and walk around that. Like, that's 3D. If you want to, you can also pinch and zoom on the phone, make the 3D model bigger. You can, like, control the model if you move it around.
Huh. So you can stick this in your videos, or wow.
Yeah. It's kind of like the filters that Snapchat and
Right.
Instagram have. But we're going more after contextual use cases. So we're recreating objects that look very, very realistic. Like, that's not a real car. That's a 3D rendering of a car.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It does look real.
But we worked with Ford. That's the new Ford E-Mustang that's coming out next year.
Really? That's the Mustang?
Yeah, the new one. It's
Interesting.
the fully electric.
Oh.
Yeah.
So-
We launched that like a month ago with them. The other cool part about this tech is normally in order to experience something like that, you have to download an app in order to use it.
Right.
Like, you can't use like Snapchat's filters. You have to download Snapchat, right?
Uh-huh.
Here, you don't have to download anything.
Right.
I can just send you a link to that. You can have it on your phone right now.
Right.
That's different.
Wow. So wow.
I'll send it to you, dude.
So what do you? Okay, well, let's just go back to the fucking TikTok thing.
Yeah, let's talk about TikTok.
TikTok is legitimately changing my life. So this podcast went from, I don't know, I was excited to get to like 5,000, 10,000 downloads. We have over 30,000 now. And like real people listening, selling merch. You know, I got 260,000 on TikTok now. And
Dude, congrats. That's amazing.
yo, but like
That's insane.
my YouTube went from 8, now I have 20,000 on YouTube.
Sick.
And growing. And now my Instagram went from like 10 to now I have 21 on Instagram. So, but it's like
feeding everything.
it's feeding
dude.
everything, bro.
Wow.
And it's changed my life. Because like I'm not getting views from trends or dances, or it's just me.
Yeah.
So they're like actual fans. And Veronica, it's our life, it's sobriety, it's just so it's incredible because the algorithm allowed, I think, the people like to decide what they like.
Yeah. That's what it does.
Yeah. Rather than like, oh, you didn't spend the money or whatever. Enough people reacted to my raw whatever.
I mean, they legitimately have the best, I think, personalization algorithm in the world right now.
Oh my God.
It's
not
better.
even-
It's honestly better than anything Google or Facebook has.
I mean, it's not even close.
I feel like you open TikTok, brand new user, you didn't sign in, you didn't give them anything. Within like 5 actions, they like know who you are. It's like pretty crazy. Actually.
Yeah, because that action could be like, oh, you watched more than 1 second of this video.
The thing you need to keep
Everything is an action.
Yeah, but like the thing you need to keep in mind with all app development, and this is why the whole privacy thing is important, like every action that you take, assume that the app that you're in is logging that and then trying to make the product better based on it.
Yeah. And I honestly don't have any problem with any of that. I don't really know why everyone's fucking all tripping about all this shit. Like I don't care. I don't care if they're filming and recording me right now. I'm not tripping. I don't know why everyone is.
Yeah,
To be honest,
there's a lot of blowback on it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that food?
Oh, are you going to get your
Did you
haircut?
get food?
Food's here.
Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, TikTok's crazy, and Matt was over at ByteDance before this shit popped off, and you were saying how you kind of knew just based on what you saw when you went there.
Yeah, I mean, we visited ByteDance. We visited a lot of Chinese companies, and the thing, just the work ethic, the number of developers they have working on these products, like it's thousands of people.
Yeah, so you walked into a room and you were like, whoa.
There's like a lot of people coding, like head down.
Like
it was early in the
smart
morning.
Chinese people.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
It's
that
just
Americans aren't smart, but I mean, let's just be real. Like, Asians are better at math. No? I mean, I don't know. I just, in my mind.
Maybe, but I think it's a work ethic thing.
That too.
I think it has more to do with like the societal structure over there and like the way you're guided.
So it didn't come down to a graphic or a user experience, or it came down to an algorithm.
I think it was a combination of things made TikTok
For
work.
sure.
They have a super innovative user experience too.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
The flipping of vertical video is like really sticky.
Yeah, and
it's better than stories.
For you and the
and flips, dude. It's,
but the for you and the following, it's so simple.
It is,
and it's like, oh, it's just it's insane. But I mean, it just seems. I always thought like, wow, like, you know, they took every single amalgamation of things and they just put them all into this one thing, and they're like, we're gonna give people the best content experience.
They also spent like billions of dollars on marketing in the US.
Wow.
I think in 2018 they spent over $1 billion on Snapchat, just on Snapchat. I think I heard. Maybe it was just $1 billion in the US, but they went after the younger audience
to get them to get on the app.
Yeah. I mean, I remember using. I don't think they're running them as much now.
Okay, so I just spent $6,000 on ads.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Nice.
For our little show we're trying to make and all my shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like hesitating to continue to spend more. But when I hear shit like that, like it's pay to play right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm growing organically.
You should just be able to. Yeah, you can't pay for organic growth. I mean, that's the.
No, and I'm getting that, but
Yeah.
I want to go even further because I don't think that. I think there are too many people that are paying to play.
Yeah.
That if you really want to compete in like the real world of like influencers, you kind of have to spend some money.
I would just view it as a business, honestly.
Oh, it is.
It's just straight ROI. Like, are you getting like what is the return on the investment?
It's about like $1.25 per follower.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
If you want to get like really gnarly into it, then you
what he
like
told
figure
me,
like what we do is like we actually figure out like lifetime value or average revenue per user. Like these are metrics that we look at, so we can make decisions on like, okay, like am I making more than $1.25 on that user? If so, then like it probably makes sense to spend it, you know?
But I mean, for me, like I just know that I will.
I know. Then in that case,
point.
I would keep spending
because we have so many different. We have the merch, we have the podcast, meeting. Plus, we're trying to help people, and a lot of people have been getting helped.
Dude, that's hard. That's harder to measure.
Yeah,
even people that you don't know or can never measure because they see your message, you know, and it helps them.
That's the thing for me is the other night I was doing a video about like the amount of people that are in pain that are messaging me about like, oh, you know, I want to kill myself, or my husband is in jail, or I don't know how to get my son, or you inspired me to like, and it's just like, all right.
Well, what's the amount? Can you give me an average?
I have to do this now. Cause what?
Yeah.
What's the amount? Can you just give me a guess number of how many you're getting a day of these messages?
I mean, it's insane. On Instagram, it's probably about 20 messages a day. Probably more, 20 to 50. But then on TikTok, it could be anywhere from 100 a day. I mean, if I don't, like right now, I have 18 unread messages, and then, it's just.
But they're not all sad stories. Some of them
How did you decide to get sober? Weird question, maybe. My BF is a user, and he says he wants to stop, but still hasn't. And it's full of excuses. Why hasn't he yet? Did you hit rock bottom before you want to get clean? I mean, it goes on, and there's the next one. So, hi, first, I love you and Veronica. Second, I need Veronica to do my hair, but I live in Philly. Okay, no. Hi, I recently started following you and Veronica. Today I started listening to your podcast, and you seriously put life into such good perspective. I love it. Just like, it's just insane. And this is, I don't even want to read all this, but it's
Wow.
just, it's fucking,
People really open up to you.
oh my God. Like, they tell me their whole life story.
Wow.
Well, that's because I'm giving them my life story.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? You will attract that for
They,
sure.
they
'cause you
feel
live with such
comfortable.
transparency.
Yeah, it's totally transparent. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we're in an open marriage and she wants to have sex. So I'm putting this out there and people are like, okay, well then I'm going to tell him about my situation.
Sounds like it's promoting better communication, which I like.
For sure. And openness and honesty and like looking at like relationships and in a new way. And also the biggest thing is like abandoning like this shame
Yeah,
culture about comparing our insides to everyone else's outsides online. And I think TikTok's helped break down those barriers of
Yeah.
like, TikTok's almost like the real, like you can show like the pain, or I don't know, maybe that's just what I'm noticing, but it's more like, it's not all sunsets and fucking.
Yeah, people don't even care what they look like. It seems like.
Well, because it's only video.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
you can't like
Oh,
take a photo and like Photoshop it. So like you're gonna look. That's why a lot of my fans like they don't have any video. Like people are so scared to make a video,
Right.
Because you can't like like all the hot chicks on Instagram. If you notice, like they probably don't have a lot of videos.
Dude, most of the people who follow me have no content at all.
Yeah, so I've even gotten Billy. Like Billy's at almost 4,000,
I have 3,500.
but that's just because I'm like trying.
Plus,
to
they do a thing when you start posting. They flood you with followers to get you hooked.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah, in the
definitely do
beginning.
this.
That's another thing with TikTok. They're so smart.
They're so smart.
Like they'll let one of your first videos like go.
boom, you'll get like 10,000 views. You're like,
Yeah.
holy fuck.
And then it keeps you like addicted to it, right?
Yeah,
it
it's
keeps
like
you
a
coming
game.
back.
Do
Do you have any inside knowledge on whether it's going to be banned or taken over, or like not inside, but any?
I haven't been keeping up on it that much. It sounds like Microsoft is interested in buying them. That's what I heard last.
Yeah, but like how the fuck could our government ban an app that big?
Well, they can. I
never been
think
done.
what they would do. I think what they would do is they would work with Google and Apple to get it banned from the store, so you can't download it here. That's the way they would enact it.
Yeah,
sure.
but like it's never happened ever in the history.
Yeah, I can't remember that ever happening.
It hasn't ever happened because this would be a huge deal for me. Like,
Yeah.
I would literally go into like a depression probably.
Yeah.
I mean, something would replace it or whatever. It's funny how he doesn't laugh when I say that because he actually understands
I know.
the value of like this shit.
I'm not laughing either. I'm
No,
just
I know,
thinking,
but
what
like-
are we
like-
going to do with poor Pat if they
No,
ban
but like
TikTok?
a lot of people.
Well, the one thing you can do though is like even if they ban it here, I don't know how many of your followers are U.S. versus outside of the U.S. Do you have any idea?
It's all U.S.
All U.S.?
I mean, it's not all, but the percentage, everyone would just be fucked. I'd be fucked.
Yeah. Well, the thing to keep in mind is that even if TikTok goes away, there are other products comparable that you could still get a similar following. Like Reels is not as good as TikTok, but it's the same format.
Yeah.
But are they going to really make the effort and all that?
I was just wondering if you actually, for me, it just seems like hard to believe that.
Oh yeah, it would be insane. I mean, but think about it. Like it's kind of crazy right now if you think about it's the tech companies that actually have the control around free speech and what apps you can use, not the government.
Right.
Government they're not involved.
So
Like think about that. Like the law says in the First Amendment you have freedom of speech, right?
Yeah.
But you can't say whatever you want on Facebook.
Right. Or TikTok.
TikTok.
Or anywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I started talking about the coronavirus on YouTube. I made a whole video of us arguing with Oleg about how, like what if it's not what everyone's thinking it is?
Okay.
And it got taken down.
Yeah.
And there's another video where we're talking about conspiracies, and that got taken down. I mean, you literally can't talk about...
I heard a really good quote about conspiracies the other day. They said, like, why do conspiracy theories exist? Or, like, why is it called conspiracy theories? So conspiracy theory just means that you believe authorities lie, right? That's why a conspiracy would exist. Because if authorities don't lie, then what's the conspiracy? right? But like if authorities lie, and they do lie sometimes,
Yeah.
that's why there's conspiracy theories.
Right.
Oh, so if everyone told the truth, there would be no conspiracy.
Yeah, because then it's like, what's a conspiracy?
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah, of course.
I'm just curious. So you know how we all have like several emails and accounts and all this stuff, and a lot of it's saved for years and years and years. Are there some huge storehouses somewhere like storing all this stuff?
He's the best.
Yeah, there are big server racks for sure that store information.
I mean, they must be massive because there's
Yeah.
billions of people on. Just,
they are.
But also, like,
I've been in some of them before. They're
but,
big.
But also, data's getting smaller, and
Our
storage is,
our ability to store that data into smaller and smaller spaces is getting better and better.
I have a 2 terabyte drive. It's like this. It's a flash drive. It's like this big.
Yeah,
It's insane.
it basically.
But why
So
don't
there
you-
is big warehouses storing all this with servers, just tons of huge servers.
Multiple.
yeah.
of
Big
them.
time.
I'm sure Verizon has a massive one.
Huge.
Where?
All over the place. I think they're all over the place in rural areas.
Wow.
Big warehouses. I think some of them might be underground too, because it's like,
Does it take? It must take tons of energy too to keep these
yeah,
things.
takes energy.
And
for
they just
sure.
fucking are on all the 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I imagine that ones that are only just doing pure storage, those are in a more idle state, so they're not taking up as much energy as like your iPhone that you're like actively like taking videos with and fucking editing. But
Yeah.
yeah, they have to store the data somewhere.
Let's let him eat.
Yeah, we'll kick it back up.
Okay,
Yeah,
I need to
sounds
check
good.
and see if the food's
Yeah,
done
we're
too.
just gonna pause for a second. I mean, bro, like, I would make a video for YouTube, like a good video, like like a solid
Yeah.
behind the scenes of us filming Complex Con. You know, you have Tyler the Creator and ASAP Rocky, just like real artists, like us behind the scenes on the stage, like good videos, and 1,000 views maybe on YouTube.
It's
like
it's crazy.
Yeah, well, YouTube is tough, dude. It's a really, really hard.
I think I know why. Like, they don't really have a good destination homepage experience.
Right.
Like, they enable discovery because you go in to watch a video, and then they're pretty good at serving you the next video that you want to see.
Yeah.
But like the thing with like TikTok is you just go in, and they're gonna serve you shit that you like.
Yeah.
Regardless. I think that's one different mechanic
I mean,
with YouTube. You know.
I will say I think YouTube is by far like the best platform overall.
Dude, it just works.
Yeah, when it comes to like, I mean, TikTok's cool for like short-term shit and like quick, but like YouTube is like, I just had a video, now that it's starting to go a little bit, I have like old videos like getting love.
Yeah.
Like videos never die.
What about it? What about YouTube do you like? Do they have good terms?
First
for
of
you?
all, the videos never die.
Yeah, they're always there.
Like you could discover a video that was made 20 or I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever.
It could go viral. You could have an old video go viral.
Which
honestly.
kind of is the case for TikTok, but not really.
No,
like
it's not the same.
Yeah, like all my old videos are like pretty much dead.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, but like like I'm reposting old videos.
I feel like on TikTok they've got like some of those old like dancing videos that just like they just keep getting views because people
Really?
keep remixing. You know the
the duets.
the
and
duets.
shit.
Yeah.
No, but YouTube is just cool because, I mean, there's just so much. Like, first of all, you can send people to other videos of yours in the video
annotations. Yeah.
So, like, for example, like I have a video where I'm doing a podcast with Jason Evigan, the guy
Right.
who wrote the song Girls Like You from Maroon 5, and he gave me that plaque, right? So in the middle of the podcast, it goes, watch Jason give Pat the plaque.
Boom.
And then they can see that. And then from there, it could be like, watch our Lake Mead houseboat trip with Jason. And then from the Lake Mead video, you can go watch our previous year's Lake Mead video. And then you could go to the whole playlist of all the lake video. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like you can get people to stay, and it's literally like you're your own. It really is like a chant. Like you have your own channel.
That's really what it is.
With playlists.
Yep.
I have a sober playlist. I have like a travel playlist. I have me and Veronica playlist. And it's really like you could just spend. I have fans that will discover my YouTube and spend like a whole week just ingesting all that content.
It's like you're running your own network.
For sure.
That's really what it is. Because
Yeah.
it's like the playlists are the channels. But you're like the network. It's like you're the network,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and that's been... Yeah, that's been, for me as a content creator, I'm like, yo, I just want to get my YouTube going so that I can, if I want to make a movie,
Yeah.
I can just post it there.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Or a show, so we're making this show right now, about sobriety and me and her. It's basically just like a version of what we do on TikTok, but like longer form.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really been fun and exciting. And
Sweet.
this kid, Andy, one of my really good friends who I grew up with.
Yeah.
He's a producer. He actually was the junior producer on Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, he's like legit. He works at Atlas. And he's we're gonna try to sell it to Netflix.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
I mean, but like the thing about that is like that's a fucking pipe dream. Maybe not.
I don't know.
I mean,
They're
who
spending
knows?
a lot of money on original content.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really good. It's really amazing. And
I feel like the story you have to complete a sale to someone like Netflix is really strong if they're looking for content that appeals to a younger demographic that you're connecting with on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, like
Yeah.
that's really valuable for them, honestly.
Yeah, and
Potentially.
and it also deals with the opioid epidemic, and sobriety, which these things are kind of like hot topics right now.
Yeah.
And as it relates to like a suburban neighborhood like Agora, because Agora is. I mean, look, guys, we have an extra mic if anyone wants to just sit and talk.
I'm just dying over it. He's like,
Do you have a second? Are you chilling? I've been wanting to get Suzi
I just like.
on here for a
I
while.
love that Robinson just like.
We're best friends.
I just love that. Do I have to turn something on?
No, you could just start talking.
I just love that Robinson was sitting where the mic was, as if he was a part of the conversation.
He was actually
He
sitting
was
there.
sitting right here where the mic
No,
is.
so the last podcast starts with me talking to Robinson.
That's so
He's
good.
sitting on that chair.
So cute.
I mean, it was just kind of a funny little TikTok video we made. Here, put those headphones on, Susie, and trip out.
Why does it echo in here?
No, it's just, you could just hear us better. And
I haven't worn headphones like this in a long time. I stopped doing my other podcast.
When did you stop doing it?
Like at the beginning of COVID. Because the guy just, I don't know, I wasn't like aligned with what we were talking about. And we were, at first, the beginning of the show, it worked because of how polar opposite we were.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, it was sort of like, okay, like I get it. You're the like old progressive-ish guy who's still really conservative about weird things. And you only like your type of music. And he would also always talk about how hot my sister was. And she looks just like me. And it was kind of weird. Like he'd be like, "Oh, your sister's so hot." And I was like, "Yeah, I get it.
she's very pretty. You both
She's
are.
very beautiful, thanks." But it's a little uncomfortable when someone who's like late 50s telling you your sister's so hot when you look just like your sister.
Like
Yeah,
over.
it's a little weird.
Like
no,
over,
I'm not talking about the PE teacher. We just had a realization that we were both. What would you call that? Sexually like profiled, assaulted.
Assaulted is a strong word.
We
What
just
happened?
had a realization that when we were young, we had a PE teacher who was like he was really close to us, and there was times where he would drive us home from school, and on more than one occasion, he put his hand on my thigh and said to me, "If you were older, I would totally be with you." And apparently he did the same thing to my sister, which I didn't realize.
Wow.
That's so creepy.
It's so creepy.
You know what though? Like back then, like fools were just doing that shit.
I know.
Like I had, so much shit flew back then that wouldn't fly today.
But that's so crazy to think that was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
imagine what going on 100 years ago. People must have just been running around fucking raping and killing
Yeah.
people all day.
Dudes were fucking each other with the. I mean, have you ever seen Have you ever seen the show?
Oh, are you talking about a documentary that came out where what was that show? It kind of came out at the beginning of quarantine, and it had to do with the guy that conned that entire family, and he ended up
the Epstein shit.
No, not the Epstein shit. The guy, he conned an entire family, and he ended up getting the father to hook up with him, the mother to hook up with him, and then the daughter to hook up with him.
Yeah, we watched this. It was
what was
so
that called?
It's
a really fucked up story.
Really fucked up.
So wait, it's a movie? Or?
It's a documentary about a man who basically becomes a part of a church in a small community.
So hold on. I've never told anyone to do this, but I'm always telling people to be more on the mic, but you're actually like almost too close to the mic.
I was told to eat the mic.
You're crushing.
When you podcast, you eat the mic.
Yeah, you're like, you have a really, like, she's really doing, like, normally people are like this.
Well, yeah, because they don't know.
Yeah, you like know.
You're supposed to eat the mic.
Yeah, you're like eating it like a little bit
Am
too
I being
much.
a little too Darth Vader?
But so yeah, no, I mean you're pretty good, but just
How am I? Am I okay?
you're like insane. You have like a really good like voice. Like
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Sick.
So wait, no, have you seen Spartacus? Or
No.
oh, isn't that old? That's very
But
yeah.
I've seen like 300, like
okay,
that
any
vibe,
of that
right?
shit. Like shit was just
Spartacus
savage.
is much older. Yeah.
It was
What the
savage.
fuck?
Yeah, it was savage.
So savage.
No, but Spartacus is one of the best shows ever made.
Oh, it's
actually.
a show. I thought you were talking about the movie.
Oh, what
it's
is
an
it
old
on?
It's a
movie.
Stars show. You know what you know the story of Spartacus?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's that story.
I'm
This
not
dude-
familiar with it.
It's just a dude who got captured and became a gladiator. You know, the fight in the ring.
Oh yes, I know this
basically,
story.
like you fight to the death.
Yeah.
And this dude basically convinced all the slaves to just like to rebel and leave.
That's badass.
Yeah, it's
That's
really-
what we need to do with people if we actually want to make change. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy.
So yeah, it's really good. But we were
I
just
don't know what that thing is called.
so
That
me,
movie,
me,
So
documentary.
fucked up.
I don't either.
me and Matt were just talking about this show we're trying to make about how suburban towns have a lot of like drugs and a lot of ODs
Darkness.
and a lot of
Yeah.
darkness. So we're kind of doing something about that. But then also, what I was saying is if we can't sell it, like we'll just YouTube.
Yeah, put it out there.
YouTube's great.
Do they have good terms for creators? Like, do you feel like you can make like decent money off the views, or is it just like
Eventually,
once you grow to a certain
I
point?
mean, my friends Steven and Sammy were making like $6,000 to $10,000 a month.
Oh,
and they had
nice.
like 350,000 subscribers, and they were just doing shoe reviews.
Wow.
Oh, that's really cool.
So yeah, you can crush the monetization on
For
YouTube.
sure.
I mean, I've made 400
Yeah.
in my whole lifetime, and I've posted like thousands of dollars. I've spent so much money on videos.
But it's an investment
like,
over time, and like
You're
now
so
sure.
passionate about it too, and I feel like you're not the type of person that's doing it for money. You're doing it.
Oh,
it's
no.
like the money for you, from my point of view, is just a bonus. Like you
Yeah.
genuinely are really passionate.
But I
about
also
this.
know in the long run, if I can build that, then I can actually like, hey guys, we're getting together today. We're going to make a little short film about X, Y, and Z, and I know it's going to yield some money.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple 100,000. That's like what's
Yeah.
so dope about YouTube is like there are creators that like have enough followers and they know every video I put out will generate this amount of money, so I have that budget to make the video.
Yep.
It's crazy. How amazing is that?
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I mean, as an independent content creator, that's what you want to be able to do, right?
Yeah, and I've been trying to sell that idea to Tim for years, but he doesn't. He's always been like, I don't really. It's like it almost seems impossible. You know what I'm saying? Because it sort of is in the beginning. It's so hard, But thanks to this new platform, we're actually getting some. I don't know how I would have ever done it if it was just on YouTube.
Such a grind, but I feel like it's a blessing where you're able to go and express and create in a different format too. Because TikTok's totally different, man. Way shorter form and
Yeah.
optimized specifically for the phone. I feel like that's the biggest thing between YouTube and TikTok.
I also feel like it's a younger generation, and the younger
Totally
generation
different
is
audience.
more on the screen than any other generation.
So
That's true.
You're on there. You're watching. You said it's all dogs.
I mean, because
Or what was the thing you were
for
saying?
me, yeah, I mean, I'm not someone who necessarily makes money off social media. I'm starting to because I get a lot of clients from there.
Mm-hmm.
But TikTok, I don't really use as a platform the way I should yet. I've been doing that with more Instagram, and it's been giving me a return. So I'm going to be venturing into that. I mean, we'll see what happens with the ban and everything. But I love animals and it's an escape for me. Like
Yeah.
I want to watch silly shit that animals do. And so now because I've liked all these things of animals, my whole feed is animals doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
On TikTok?
Yeah.
Yo, but some of the shit. Have you seen the one where the cat's like just like in the corner? And
Yeah, like if these humans don't give me a fucking
No,
break where he's
yeah.
talking shit,
Well, that one, but there's
I swear to God, I'm gonna fuck them all up in their sleep.
no, that one's funny. But the one where like the cats, it's like the chances of your cat killing you are basically zero, or almost are like very low, and then it says
Slim to none, and then zooms in.
and then it zooms into like this evil cat, and it's like, but they're not zero.
There's one like that about a
And
goat.
the music hits. Oh, I saw the goat one.
The goat one's good.
So those are like my favorite because some of these cats are like they're like half their face is around the corner. And they're like
So creepy. Oh
it's
my God,
And they
dude.
have the Stranger Things music going. you know?
Cats are creepy in general.
Like
Yeah.
I just think kids are just so. The one thing before this was even starting to work for me that I was noticing, I was going, just and I was just like, wow, like these kids are fucking so creative.
Yeah.
And they're using all the different trends and it's just they're so funny and clever.
Yeah. That's why I feel like TikTok really works because they nailed the camera. They have a really good camera, and you don't need to go on a laptop to edit anything.
Oh yeah.
Could you? I mean,
What do you mean they nailed the camera?
I feel like TikTok's camera is really good
Right. Like you mean like in the app.
in the app,
But it's
Yeah.
just that whatever camera you have, no?
No, I mean like the software that they put around it, where you can do matching the music to it, speed it up, slow it down,
Yeah.
cut it with different shots. Like, dude, their camera's way better than Instagram's cameras. Instagram has like 3 cameras. How many do they have?
I don't know, but yeah, you can stop it and then start it and then stop. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really know. I just make all my shit. I've literally only filmed in the. But so while I have you guys, this is crazy because I've always wanted to have Suzi on, and I never really thought I would even be able to have you on, but it's like amazing. But I want to jump right into something that we ask everyone. And I think you both could answer if you want.
Yeah.
So you know what the podcast is called, right?
Learning to lose.
So why don't you tell me what you think that means to you, and then we could go over to Matt.
That's a loaded question. Learning to lose.
I mean, there's no wrong answer.
I agree. There is no wrong answer. I think it's what each person makes of it. My perception of losing is not a negative one, so I look at it as like learning to grow. Because without losing, I don't really feel like you can have winning or success. It's sort of like everything in life has got a yin and a yang. You've got good versus evil. There's a lot of polarizing things in life, and so to me, losing is just a part of the process of growing. That's what learning to lose to me is. It's really just taking everything that happens to you and hopefully using it to better your life or somebody else's life. Because at the end of the day, we all take things differently, and everybody has a lens that they see life through. And because of your childhood and life experience and the choices that you make, those shape the lens that you see things through. It's kind of like wearing glasses. Something happens to someone in, 5th grade, and it puts glasses on them for the rest of their life or for years to come based on how they'll view the world because of something that happened that triggered this transformation. And I think learning to lose is sort of about, really just finding the silver linings in everything. I think I'm a big believer in stoicism too. So I think that's why I view it that way.
Interesting. Grow. Learning to lose is growing.
Mm-hmm. I really don't think you can have, success and winning, so to speak, without failing.
You can't always win, right?
Yeah, and it's like you can't have like love without hate. I look at it kind of the same way as that.
Is that true?
Well, love and hate are polar ends of the same thing.
I feel like you can't really hate someone unless you love them.
Oh, right.
And I feel like you can't really win unless you lose. You think about people who are like look at Michael Jordan, who's one of the best basketball players that ever lived. Every loss was fuel to make himself better. Every time when they did that what was that, Last Dance documentary?
Have you seen that?
It's insane.
So dope.
So good.
You just
So
talk about that
dope.
for the rest of the podcast.
All someone had to do was make him feel like he couldn't do it, and that made him be like, oh yeah, cool, I'm going to show you. And maybe he didn't win every single time, but that persistence, that learning to lose, that willingness to put yourself into the arena instead of being in the stands and being a spectator, that vulnerability and courage, that allowed him to be the great that he is now. That's someone who's learned to lose.
He even had to teach himself. He made up situations where people were taunting him.
I know.
Like, he's making up losses in order to fuel his victory and his winning.
To be honest, that documentary kind of fucked me up a little bit because, like, my whole thing is, like what you said, you're right. Like, losing is... Yeah, it's just it's like a construct that society, like, we're just playing a game, like the life game, and we're just, if we like to play it, you're just gonna always play it. And you know, like the story thing of the horse, it's like, if you lose the horse, you think it's bad, but then he comes back with like 10 other wild horses, and then now you think that's good, but then one of the wild horses breaks the kid's leg, and then now that's bad, but then he dodges the draft because his leg got broke.
Is this like an episode of Nat Geo that I missed?
No, it's a really cool story that we were talking about earlier
okay.
that this guy Alan Watts talks about. But yeah, like the most successful people ever lost way more than anyone else.
Yep.
But I think that if you lose and it hurts you so badly that you don't want to play again,
that it debilitates you.
That's one of the biggest things for me is, like, if you can just learn to lose and not let it fuck you up, then you just keep playing and eventually you'll win. But I think for me, like, I hate losing so much that, like, I don't even like want to play Monopoly.
Because you probably shame yourself after you lost.
Well, because I just like... It just means too much.
It rattles you. It shakes you to your core.
Yeah, but I'm forgetting the joy of playing with my friend. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, so right now I like doing this, so it wouldn't really matter if I only got 10 people to listen to it. Does that make sense?
It really resonates, dude.
But then, because I like it so much, we've done almost 70 episodes, and we now have a fucking... listening, we have like a base of listeners, so it's like eventually you're just gonna, you were right on. I was kind of hoping and waiting for Billy to say.
I like how you said that, because I think I lost so bad in my childhood that I didn't want to play, and for probably decades I chose not to.
Exactly, that's what we do, because everything is so serious for us. Yeah, like the weight of the world is on our shoulders.
For me, learning to lose is a little different. For me, it's a way of diminishing suffering and to have more peace in my life. You know, because the resistance to change or losing is where the suffering comes from.
Exactly.
Yes.
Anyway,
see, Billy doesn't say much, but when he does, it's great. I love it. But he really listens, though. Like, he's listening to you. He's looking at you, and he's like really listening.
What about you, Matt? What do you think?
Everything everyone said really resonates deeply with me. For me, one thing, Pat, that you said that hit was life is like the journey is the way. These obstacles are the way.
Yeah.
This is just life. Mm-hmm. One thing I've been looking into a lot recently is time, and how even time is just a construct, the past and the future. And so focusing on this present moment and the experience that you're having, I think is one way to just live with peace and fulfillment throughout. And whether or not that moment is bringing loss or success, or like positive or negative, that's just your lens. That's your perception. And like Pat, we're playing Monopoly, and let's say I win. I win by $1. You lose. Mm-hmm. Or let's say you win by $1, but then I lose. What's really the difference?
Like, what does it mean?
Like, what does it mean?
It's sort of meaningless.
No. So we give everything all the meaning there is.
But even like Monopoly as a game, it has rules. Like, what are those rules? Like, someone wrote them. It's just
arbitrary.
It's just a construct.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
What I'm saying is it only means what we're
Attaching to
we
it.
give everything all the meaning there is. That's something.
Exactly.
Someone who, you know that guy. What's his name? He in our program. The guy that. Fucking. I love this guy's shares. He was like really smart and kind of like, kind of had like a big ego. He was kind of short with like black hair. He said that to me one time. The guy who sold me all those beaties. I feel like you and
Johnny
him.
Brenner?
Yes. So one time this guy in our meeting said that to me, and I just like fucking a light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, like yeah, the only reason anything is good or bad to me is because I'm making it so.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't like to fly.
Like on airplanes?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just because that's just the story I've told myself.
Yeah.
Based on some experiences I've had. It's not going to be that every time, but we make all this shit up.
The mind is a very powerful
exactly.
thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of scary,
it's
actually.
everything. And being in the present moment, like you said, is really like kind of like the whole fucking secret.
I feel like to me then, like, learning to lose is just understanding that like there is no loss. It's just like existence, really.
That
right?
depends how you look at it, because if you're someone who's not going to attach so much meaning to
Right.
it, then, because I think I align with your point of view. And I was thinking about what Billy said about the suffering.
Yeah.
And that seems like a really heavy burden to carry. And I'm curious, because you're saying this, do you find that people who have that perspective might have more of a victim mentality? Like, oh, everything's happening to me.
I think, yeah.
Because I feel like, and I don't mean this in any sort of way, I'm just
Are you about
thinking
to
out
insult
loud.
me?
No, but it sounds somewhat toxic, because that victim mentality, are you familiar with the victim triangle? You should look into the victim triangle. It talks
that?
about how we have it's very easy to get into this victim mentality, because when things happen to you, we as human beings, we tend to react. And most of the time you're looking outward instead of inward. It's easier that way. It's easier for me to lie and say that the dog ate my homework than be like, actually, I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And take responsibility. Because that's a lot scarier for people, because we attach this meaning into what that's going to mean. And we create all these stories that then almost debilitate us. And I think that it's very easy to fall into that victimhood when you carry so much meaning to everything, to the point where it's like you're suffering. Like, that makes me sad to hear that. I don't feel like you deserve to suffer.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think I've gotten over a lot of that.
Yeah, he's learned a lot through all his losses.
No, you're very wise. Every time I've talked to you, you always had, like Pat said, whenever you say something, it has a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
And it's because you've lived a lot of life, clearly. So you have a lot of life experience.
No, but you're absolutely right. I think for the first whole like half of your life, it was like, fuck, I'm not rich. I come from poverty and bad. I got dealt a bad.
Well, it's not so much that as I just felt like I wasn't loved or wanted
Yeah.
or cared about.
Yeah.
And I was neglected and abused.
I can relate to that.
And that is like fucked.
But being poor sucks too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that gave you the perspective you have today and the ability to be the person you are, which is like an amazing person. And me too, all this pain and hardship I went through made me everyone who, like, would you change that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Absolutely.
then you wouldn't be you.
Then I'd be an arrogant winner and have lots of money.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you honestly, would you change anything? You really would?
Absolutely.
Really? Mm-hmm. See, that kind of breaks my heart to hear that, because I feel like you're you because of all of your scars and because of everything that you have lost. That's molded you into this amazing person that you are now.
What would you change?
The physical damage, mostly.
Oh, like your veneers?
Veneers, the knee, the knocked out teeth.
Right.
Things that stay with you the rest of your life.
But haven't you told me before that your veneers has brought you to your knees so many times?
Oh, it definitely makes me who I am, yeah.
Giving you like a perspective on like...
empathy.
Like, I just feel like I don't know anyone who has as much of a... like, serenity, like peaceful... Like, this fool will just like appreciate, you know, like you said, the water you're taking a shower with, or the plant. Like he does like indoor plants and stuff, and he like loves life and plants. And sometimes I feel like I wish I could tap into that, like the euphoria that like nature can give us all if we could just slow down.
What about when you're on your bike out there in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, sometimes it's just like you slowed down enough to, I feel like, be able to appreciate it a lot more than most people.
I feel like I'm on the hot seat right now, but cool. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I think this. I mean, I feel like what he's saying is really good. To me, that sounds like you're an extremely grounded person.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I do feel like empathy is super important too, and
I think it's a superpower.
And it's just like it doesn't feel like we live in a very empathetic society right now. If you look at it, it's so polarizing.
Like we need more of you, Billy.
Well,
truly though, because you think about it, that's what we're lacking.
It's funny, like I was at a meeting one day, right, and I'm like all fucked up. Like I just like lost like hyper crush, and I like was living with my parents, and like I hadn't really asked Veronica to marry me yet. I was just kind of like in this weird place of loss, right, which brings you to like a kind of surrendered, humble state. And he shared at the meeting, and there was just something about his energy and his share. It wasn't even necessarily what he said, it was like how he said it. And I came up and I was like, yo, like, what's up, bro? Maybe I could get your number, like I need a sponsor. And he was just like, yeah, right, fool, like you're not gonna call me. Because I was like, you didn't think I
just thought, why is this cool guy want me as a sponsor?
And then what happened, like weeks into it,
dude, he called more than anyone has ever called.
Yeah.
He just kept calling.
And then the more I got to know him, the closer I got to him, the more I was like, the world like needs to hear. Because a guy like him would never be on social media. He would never be doing a podcast. But he gives me I'm crazy, like interrupting people. And like, we're like so different that there's a magic that happens here when we start talking to people that I couldn't do on my own, you know?
That makes sense. It's sort of like he's the yin to your yang.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the vibe, honestly.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, you guys complement each other really well, because you're like high energy and you're like lower, and the two of you, like you literally level each other out.
Yeah.
It's perfect. You guys have a really good dynamic.
He helps me slow down,
thanks.
or at least I try.
And help you be more present, it sounds like.
Yeah, and he needs to like get like amped up a little more sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that.
To like do his shit.
I could see that. Yeah. You have a very calm, soothing voice.
Yeah, so.
Oh my God, Robinson.
So someone just wrote in here, I feel so lost. And I thought to myself, wow, losing and lost are like
synonymous.
Are they the same?
Synonymous.
Are they like the kind of like, what is the relationship to lost and losing? Because I feel like if you're lost, you're obviously about to like find something.
Lost is like more of a state.
Yeah.
Yeah, loss is it's already happened, and it's sort of the after effect, whereas losing, you're like in the thick of it.
But it was just weird because we were talking about losing, and people are just kind of like all like just they're saying stuff, and I just kind of saw her say she's lost, and I'm just
I think
wondering.
a lot of people are lost right now. It's a really crazy time.
But if you're just in the moment and you don't have expectations and you're not like wanting or feeling attached to anything, or if all you're wanting to be is like present, which is I guess kind of what we ever. I mean, we were just talking about like The Last Samurai, have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
So like that guy Bob who like follows Tom Cruise around?
I don't remember that.
Okay, so Tom Cruise gets captured by the samurai, right?
Right.
And they give him this dude to just follow him everywhere he goes.
I don't remember that.
And he's like this old guy who literally says nothing the whole movie. He's just like this old, ill samurai that just follows Tom Cruise everywhere he goes. And Tom Cruise starts getting annoyed with him, and he calls him Bob because he doesn't say anything to him. So he's like, I'm going to just fucking call you Bob, right? But this dude's just super chill and like super, like you could tell that he's just like okay with whatever is happening. He obviously doesn't have a whole lot, nor does he want a whole lot. And sometimes I just think about like monks or samurai, or like, I don't know if there's such thing as like unawakened state, or like
I think there is.
Yeah. So I mean,
I think a lot of losing has to do with the expectations that we create, like that meaning that we create.
Right.
It's the expectation.
So basically what I'm saying is like, if you think you're lost, that's only because you're having some sort of expectation that you're supposed to be somewhere else, when the whole thing about like having faith is like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. So I don't know, maybe just embrace where you actually are and what you actually do have. And I don't know that we need to like tell ourselves that we're lost.
I like what you said, the expectations, because I
just trying to, like,
can
figure
lose
out a
every
way.
day because I'll make a list of all the things I want to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I get like a quarter through it, and then I beat myself up
Right.
because I lost. So
instead of looking
Do
at it
something
like,
about
oh, I got these things done, you look at it as what you didn't do.
yeah, you don't even see the good stuff. You're just like all the stuff you didn't do.
What's interesting about that is and I think it's because that's been part of my personal journey over the last year, is mindset. And I really see and I understand when these huge entrepreneurs talk about how 90% of it is mindset, because the words that we use to talk to ourselves are so insanely powerful. Yeah. There's a reason why we only use, what is it, like a third of our brain? 10%. Like, the brain is so powerful, it's like meant to trick you. I mean, think about it. When you don't hear from somebody for a while and you immediately go to, oh my God, I hope she's okay. I hope there wasn't an accident. I hope nothing happened to them. That's where your mind goes first.
I go to like, what did I do wrong?
But okay, but still,
are they mad at me?
But that's the same thing. We immediately go to the negative. And I was in a seminar, and they talked about how over 2,500 words in the English language have a negative connotation, and about half that have a positive connotation.
Wow.
We are conditioned to go to the negative over the positive. So when I talk about the victim thing and all that, I know that a lot of that's in our own head because of these stories, because of these expectations. I have been there where I looked at like, oh, well, that happened to me because that's why I'm like this. And you know what? That did happen to me.
So
and I own that scar, but I'm
like,
able to take that and use that as something to empower me now. And I think that takes a lot of healing and growth and being able to be open and vulnerable, and empathy. But I think that that's why so many are suffering, because it's so easy to succumb to the stuff that doesn't serve you because it's just there. Like, we teach society that Louis Vuitton and Prada and Supreme is going to make you look cool. And then you look at these riots and all these kids went and looted all these stores with expensive clothing because that's what we're taught is important. When actuality is that we're
alcoholic. We think it's
conditioned differently.
She's talking the same talk.
Yeah, they have a test in the group that we're part of, the primetime group. And it's something like sit down for an hour and try to think positive thoughts. And
It's hard.
We don't even think one, not even one positive thought.
I can think of a few.
Do you believe
you're
that you
saying-
could condition yourself to think
That's what
positive
that's
thoughts?
so. This is funny that you're talking about all this shit because like we're sober, we're in AA. A lot of stuff we talk about here are like principles that like that like AA, positive thinking.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's all about state of mind. I mean, the meeting we have every Monday night is basically about being aware of the thoughts you're thinking because that will become your life.
Yeah.
So
That's your reality, yeah.
It's- it's-
Yeah.
carry vibrations too. So
It's like a Sermon on the Mount meeting. Do you guys know what that is?
No, what is
No.
that?
That's crazy. Have you ever heard of the Sermon on the Mount?
No.
really,
No.
Is
It's
it-
like Jesus is.
it's religious
most-
stuff,
Oh,
How do you
then
say
no.
Jesus is.
Bible stuff.
Yeah.
It's Bible stuff?
It's Jesus'
Yeah, if it's Bible stuff, then no.
most popular sermon that he did on a mountain, apparently. I don't care if Jesus is real. I don't care if this sermon happened. What's written in the Beatitudes, like, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Like there's like 8 or 9 Beatitudes.
I don't know how many.
And this guy, Emmett Fox, he explains he kind of breaks the sermon down because it's hard to understand it as it was written in the Bible.
Yeah.
But it's all about like humility, service, like abandoning your ego, being in acceptance of like whatever your situation. Just like it's really about like creating the secret place.
In your
mind.
secret place, they call it, you need to protect that with everything you have, and you need awareness. And really what it breaks down to is practicing the presence of God, or they even call it truth sometimes.
It sounds like Buddhism.
It's
It
all the same
basically
shit.
is.
Yeah.
It
All
is.
the
It's all
shit's
the same. Yeah.
Everything's
Just
the same.
different deity.
Would lead down to the same place, which is be in the
Enlightenment.
moment, be in this present moment, and heaven exists on earth in our mind if we want it.
I believe that we live heaven and hell here.
It's
Yeah.
all meant
We
to
live
be.
that out here.
I mean, maybe afterlife, who knows? But here for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, in Buddhism, you go through like a life review. You face all the decisions that you made in your human body, and you evolve. You like are basically in a school desk, and you face everything that happened in your life, and you learn from all of it, and you evolve to come back to live another life that you learn another lesson in. That's more so in that spiritual realm, but
Yeah, those
you know,
are like the core tenets of Buddhism.
yeah,
right?
but a lot of people don't. A lot of people believe in God and don't believe in reincarnation.
Well, Alan Watts was talking about that, and like we look at life, especially in the West here, as linear. But he was talking about Hindus and how they think of life as cyclical.
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
think the way
Buddhism
we
is
think.
similar, yes.
Yeah,
what is
I thought it was an
cyclical?
interesting concept.
Cyclical, like
is-
cycle.
It's a cycle.
Like how the moon has phases, and it's a cycle. Women have cycle. Women have phases.
you don't
phases.
learn your lesson in the current
Exactly.
life. You come back to learn it again.
Yeah, and you don't really die in the sense you just keep coming back as different.
Because
Okay,
the
but
soul
like-
moves
Yeah,
on.
different people.
But so,
do you believe in reincarnation?
I don't know. I don't know anything because
Yeah.
it's impossible to know.
Yeah, you
But someone
can't
just
know.
said heaven.
Yeah, but what do
No,
you believe?
not in my life. Okay, but see, here's what we're saying is like, we actually can manifest heaven on earth inside of our mind. It takes practice, though.
You can manifest anything that you want.
Well, it depends.
totally agree with that
If you're
statement.
talking to a fundamentalist, there's no way they're ever going to agree with that.
So
it
they're
depends
just
who you're
saying
talking to.
heaven.
That's true.
Not in my life because they're have a lot of pain. Maybe they're
Oh.
suffering
Right.
Well, here they
in
say
their
that
disease.
too in prime time. You can have it now.
right now.
Once you get the idea, you can have it now. It doesn't matter how much time you have.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about being a newcomer is you can have everything right now.
Yeah, so like right now we're just chilling, we're friends, we're talking, people are listening. I mean,
But what it requires, the most rigorous, difficult thing for any human on earth is to combat all the negative thinking, which is 24/7. It's in the past, it's in the future, it never shuts up.
Yeah.
So to break that cycle, to get something different, to go outside of your own paradigm, it's a real challenge.
You have to
and
do
the reality
something
is,
different.
And the reality is, like, part of it is because of the default programming of your brain.
The subconscious.
There's literally a part of your brain called the default mode network that, and that is your ego. And so there's a component of your brain, and when it's highly active, you're always going to return to these thoughts, thinking of yourself.
Yeah.
And
I'm not
it
enough.
puts a lot. It like puts a lot of that
ego.
Yeah. And that's actually why I think like microdosing psychedelics is becoming a bigger and bigger phenomenon, because it's actually clinically proven to dampen that part of your brain. So that's why when people talk about it, they take like a whole bunch of LSD, for example, they have ego loss or ego death. Like that's an extreme version of this. But if you're taking smaller amounts, you can really dampen those thoughts and those effects coming in on a regular basis. Now that's using a substance to do it. Like for me personally, I've been doing meditation for like 5 years, and really only in the last year started to really understand like what meditation is.
Wow.
And it meditation.
Yeah, this dude has a whole room in his house that's like that he like. It's like wood floors and
Red
nothing
light.
else in it.
The red light is really
The red light
nice.
room.
Someone just said, "Look at Veronica measuring her food in the background." Someone just said that in here. It's so cool.
The real star of the show.
Well, wait. So I want to. What after 5 years? What is meditation?
So for me, I always thought it was just about quieting the mind. And it took me like literally 5 years to just figure out how to do that.
It's tough.
It's so
Yeah.
different for me. It was, and I'm like a naturally like very anxious. I'm always having thoughts go through my head, and that ends up manifesting as anxiety when you let the ego come in and dominate that narrative. But for me, after 5 years of meditation, I can now get to a place really fast, like within 30 seconds, where there's just stillness and emptiness. And you just be in that moment in comfort, no expectation, and just
How does
stillness.
that different than quieting the mind? It's just deeper. It's
I feel like even going in thinking like, I think I was going in saying, I'm going to meditate to quiet my mind so I don't feel anxious.
oh, I see. So it's like no expectations, no anything.
Yes.
You just get into that relaxed.
And if you
connected
have,
state.
and if
Yeah,
you have a
exactly.
thought, it's more so observing that thought and not judging it.
Right, that
and
thought
sort of
right
like,
there is disrupting it.
sort of just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a thought. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah,
But even, and I understand, like, because that's the way they teach you about how to quiet your mind.
Be a spectator
But
to your thoughts.
for me, at least, it was always like, it's like, oh, I'm hiring meditation to fix my anxiety. And it was only once I just got into a practice of it that I actually started to see like the real benefits, which is like, oh, if you start to feel really worked up, or Yasmin and I get into a disagreement and we're fighting, like just you can take a deep breath, like recenter, go to a place of still emptiness.
yeah, that's my default now after doing it so long. I don't even have to be sitting quiet. I just could be driving, or
Yeah.
Pat's manic, and I just start breathing deep, big, slow breaths, and just slow down. And
Yeah.
So that's why you're always doing that around me.
Breath works
Yeah.
insane.
no, I always do it though.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just
yeah.
around you.
But-
I just do that.
I feel like breath work is like the next level, even
Yeah.
on
I've
top
been
of
practicing
meditation.
that one now too.
Yeah,
with
it's
the breathing.
very powerful.
What type of breathing are you doing?
Well, I don't have. I'm not following some. I just made up my own.
Oh, nice.
Kundalini.
But it's mostly just really
Veronica,
big,
that's
deep,
what it's
deep,
called.
deep diaphragm breathing
Kundalini.
continuously for a while until
Oh,
I
nice.
forget about it, and then I go back to it.
That's great. I've been using a technique developed by Wim Hof, who also does
Yeah.
a lot of the cold plunge stuff too.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you hold it and all this
I
stuff.
mean, can we
yeah.
just talk about Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
And how I don't think we would know. I wouldn't know about Wim Hof. I wouldn't know about Jordan.
I wouldn't know anything.
I wouldn't know about Jordan Peterson.
I think I found out about Wim Hof from Tim Ferriss, though.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I wouldn't know about Sam Harris or Tim Ferriss or any
Yeah.
of these people without Joe Rogan. Well, actually, I don't know if he's had Tim Ferriss.
wow, that's interesting. For me, it's the opposite. I knew about those people before I knew about Joe Rogan.
Right.
I'd love to see Joe Rogan and Tim Ferriss talk for 3 hours.
Yeah, that would be a
Has he
good
never had him
episode.
on?
I don't know, but
I
that
don't
should happen.
I don't think they've ever been on each other's shows.
I mean, like, regardless of what our experiences have been, Joe is just, by far has broken any record there's ever been for
He just keeps it so real.
listener. Like the amount of the size of the audience that he has, like there's never been an interviewer, which is I guess what you would call him, in
Right.
the history of the world that's had that many like listeners.
You know what? There is actually a point in time when it was rivaled, and it was back when, man, I think this must have been in like the 40s and 50s when TV was really starting, and there were only 3 stations.
Right.
So everyone in America like had a TV, but you could only watch 3 channels. So that means some of these people were getting like 50, 60 million people watching them live. Wow.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like every single day or
What? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, like so was this what was one of those
Because
guys?
think about it, dude. Like,
what's his name?
There's no phones. Like, you can't go do anything. Like,
Yeah,
you're just
that's all
sitting
you have.
sitting at home, like watching this tube.
Yeah. Who were like the people doing the interviewing? What's his name?
Like Walter Cronkite.
Cronkite.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw. Yeah, like Walter Cronkite, like announced the Kennedy assassination
Right.
and landing on the moon. Like,
Right.
dude, he created reality for like an entire generation of people.
Now there's so much content out there. Like there's so many people like that it's almost like overload to where I think it's hard
Right.
for people
Well,
to be
that's-
unique and stand out.
No,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It's so oversaturated. Everything's so oversaturated, but that's what makes Joe so interesting and special is that like
He is unique.
there's nobody else that actually is like, you know, it's so fragmented.
Another thing that's
Like-
unique with Joe is like he covers a wide range of topics, and he goes fucking deep too.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that it's even.
I sort of feel like Joe doesn't. I think the reason why so many aren't successful is because so many people are still wearing these masks of wanting to look good in front of people or be right in front of
Yeah.
people
Yo.
at the cost of being authentic or vulnerable or genuine.
Right.
That, but there's also now the big fear of being canceled or
Cancel
doxxed
culture.
or whatever they call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't allow people to learn. How can you learn to lose if you're just going to be a part of cancel
Well, how
culture?
can you even talk if you can't say certain things? You know,
I mean,
No,
go
but
to the
that's-
Middle
that's
East.
one of the
That's
coolest
what's still
things.
like there. That's what people don't realize is that we're talking about all of this stuff, and there's parts of the world that are
Dude,
still
I
like
saw this thing where there's this little girl. I guess there was. I can't remember all the. But it was out there in the Middle East in the hot desert. There's this little girl, maybe like 4 or 5, sitting next to maybe some dead people, and then there were some other injured people. And what they said is, it was that thing that the Evans told us to watch. Is if you touch that girl, you're dead. That's why nobody's helping her.
Wait, what?
Because the what is the terrorist group that everyone's
Al Qaeda,
Oh, ISIS.
ISIS, yeah, ISIS will kill you if you touch that girl.
Whoa.
And I just thought, fuck, she's just out there alone. I don't know if her parents are dead or what. Damn. But
I mean, in parts of the Middle East, a woman still needs like a permission slip to go to the store.
still,
Like, yeah, a woman needs a
I'm
permission
sorry.
slip signed
That's,
by her
like,
husband.
Not funny, but
It's not. It's a reality.
So ridiculous
out of
that it's
line.
funny.
These
It's
women
almost
are
crazy.
in 100
No, I
degree
know.
heat and they're wearing what's called a chador, which is fully covering them from head to toe. The only thing you see is their eyes. And that's religion that's mostly ruled over Iran. It's predominantly a Muslim country. And also it's a very chauvinistic culture. So it's like God, man, and woman. Man takes priority. Women are subservient, and women are only there to make the baby and
what
to serve the
happens
man.
if the woman breaks the rules?
In the past, they can stone you, kill you. If
What
you
about-
cheat, if a woman cheats on a husband, that she could be killed for that, but not the other way around.
Killed by who?
The government,
Not her husband, though.
possibly. I don't know that. I don't know. My mom would be a good person to ask about
Yeah,
that.
your homo would know.
Yeah, some crazy stuff happens in the Middle East that people don't realize. I had a girl that I knew
What's your
um,
Instagram?
move out there to be with a very
Whatever
wealthy
one you want to
man.
tag.
And the way she had to live, according to this man who offered her all the material things,
Maddie Fresh.
is not a way that I would ever choose to live my life. And quite frankly, I think it's scary that a woman would choose that life. But I think some women can be bribed.
Well, I also heard it that the people that grow up in that culture, they don't even think about it. It's just the way. It's just their life. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's normal to them. That's their sense of normalcy. It's
I
sad.
think the reality is before 100 years ago, like that was normal everywhere pretty much.
Yeah, I guess even here, women wear skirts all the way down to their feet and stuff.
Yasmitaz?
What do you mean?
No, even here in the United States.
Oh, right.
In the past, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so strange to think of the dichotomy of 2020 where we're living this way. They're still living that way.
Yeah.
There's even still tribal cultures living.
Yes.
And then there's this highly technologized Western
Elite.
We're living such in different worlds. Almost.
Definitely in different
Polarizing.
times.
Yeah.
You can literally time travel based on where you're physically located on Earth.
I haven't been many places, but yeah, that sounds interesting.
You can for sure. Like,
Oh yeah.
like if you go to like rural China,
Yeah. Go to Thailand.
like you're not in our 2020.
Yeah.
Wait, rural China? Like,
Yeah.
what's that? Like,
It's very different.
You're
like
gonna,
in the country in China?
yeah.
Where people are growing rice and
Where they just
Do
literally
they have
created-
cell phones and computers? They probably some
No,
of them do.
not in rural.
yeah,
China.
computers are like at the local cafe. That's where you have to go to the local cafe in town to get Wi-Fi.
I follow this lady on Instagram. She lives somewhere in the mountains in the Middle East, but she makes it look so nice because they're living like they did off the rivers from the snow, and they have chickens and they hunt and they have goats, and it's so pretty, and they collect food from the wild, and it looks amazing. I love that,
Yeah.
her Instagram. And every time I translate it, she never explains anything. She's all, isn't this nice? Or blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, what is this? Why are you doing this? What are you eating? You know, I wish she would explain what's
So
going
you're
on.
like asking her these questions?
I don't
like,
ask, no. I just curious.
You should ask.
It looks like such an amazing, and she shows the food they're cooking in the pots on the wood fires and the weird little huts they live in. And
Are her photos like good? Like photos? Or
their iPhone. Yeah, it's really,
If you look at a lot of other cultures too, most cultures, American culture is a very individualistic society, whereas even in the Middle East, for example, they're a little bit more, even though they're highly chauvinistic, they are a little bit more of a collective culture. It's sort of like, if you're a neighbor, your family, come, we'll feed you. Whereas Americans, it could be down to their last bowl of rice and they're not going to give you any.
Dude, just walk in the neighborhood. Like, most people have this look on their face like, what's up? You going to take my shit or
Right
something?
here?
Yeah.
Just, around here. And it's not like, it's weird. I feel like everyone has a shotgun behind their door.
Dude, when we went
Because
to
they
the
do.
Philippines, bro, like we went to the
seriously.
Philippines, or we went to this little fucking village, like in the Philippines, where they don't really have. I mean, it's like they have nothing. We slept in we were there for a little while, and it was just like, I mean, obviously it's different when they see us because we're like,
Yeah, but I bet they were some of the most gracious people you've ever met.
friends, and it's just it's super different. It's almost like the more you.
I crave that. I have this bug out fantasy to like create that somewhere up in the Pacific Northwest somewhere.
Ooh, like in Washington, get like 10 acres.
Well, Crescent City is my spot. It's my target. It's right on the border of Oregon and California.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Redwoods and all that neat stuff. Yeah.
It's almost like the more you have, the harder it is to be happy.
More money, more problems.
Well,
it's almost like being able to like extract some of that communal joy and fulfillment that you get from that, and even like elements of a simple life, but then matching it with like the equality that we're emerging towards in this country would be really valuable.
Yeah.
Because I think,
Utopia.
basically, right?
Yeah, or
we
close to it.
But that's the whole thing about the Sermon on the Mount meeting we do, is like we can have that right now.
Well, I feel like you and the Evigans kind of do. You have this community here that's most people don't have.
Yeah, it's just like, damn, dude, look how red I am, bro. That fucking niacin's got me fucking.
It's a good
Wait,
stuff.
what is niacin? What does niacin
It's a
do?
vitamin.
But what does it do?
Gives you a blood flush. All your capillaries flush.
Oh, wow.
I had only heard of it before if you're like trying to cheat a weed drug
Yeah, that's
test
the
or
only
something.
time I had ever taken it. And back then, when I was taking it, it was to like pass a drug test. But
Yeah.
then it got all hot, and I was like, I didn't like it at all. But this fool, like,
It just relaxes you so
relaxes and like
much.
helps with
Your
circulation.
muscles, Yeah.
Wow. And, what about like
yeah.
magnesium? I've heard that taking magnesium in the
I've been
evenings.
taking magnesium.
Yeah,
helps
calm?
me sleep. Yeah, chill.
Yeah, the calm powder.
No, I'm taking this one from
The calm
Errol.
powder is really helpful because I have
take
major
it, but
insomnia.
I can't tell. Do you feel it when you take it?
The nights that I do take it, I don't necessarily feel
No, not
sleepy,
the
but I
nice and
feel.
the magnesium.
No, I'm saying the nights that I do take it,
Oh.
I don't. I'm an insomniac. I have really hard time sleeping, but I do feel way more relaxed when I do take it.
Have you tried valerian root?
No, I haven't. Is that another vitamin?
It's what they make Valium from.
Oh, interesting. I did the
yeah.
melatonin thing, but I don't know.
I heard that works.
She's like, "What's valerian root?" While we're sitting here.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I was on the melatonin thing, and then the whole study came out about it being linked to too much estrogen and breast cancer. And I'm really careful about taking things. I'm really, even when I'm on my, I get that monthly bill as a woman, even then, I'm weird about taking Advil. I don't like to take any sort of.
Oh yeah, too much of that stuff's proven to be bad for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, too much of anything, I believe, is not a good thing.
Apparently, you can take a lot of vitamin D and be okay. And that's like one of the
Yeah, vitamin D, you can. You're right.
unanimously like positive things.
And
And
to
it makes
say.
you happy.
And C, yeah. I've been taking a lot of vitamin D.
So
and C.
you
It's
guys
good.
go to work tomorrow?
What do you mean go to work? Like walk upstairs?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
I
walk
haven't.
across the hall to the office.
No, but so
Well, no, you
you're-
go out. You go to work.
Yeah, but not every day, and work looks different for me every single day. So.
Yeah, but but you don't have like an office.
At home,
Okay, so your office is at home, and
Same.
your whole company is. Are you guys like will the employees at Verizon ever go back to like any kind of office, or because I've heard that certain
Depends on like what department you're in. So I think like anyone who's working in like the Verizon retail stores, there will be an opportunity for them to go back. I think there's a reason to have stores for Verizon.
Yeah, but
Also,
you're not ever going back to any office.
for me, like anyone building software, I'm never going back to an office.
What?
I gave up my office.
Why would I?
I know, but like they've like told you that.
Well, no.
No, you have a choice.
I think like officially it's like through the end of the year is work from home, and then they're going to start phasing the offices back in. And for a lot of people, it's better having an office is better because they have little kids running around at home. Like it's not the best environment for everybody, but for my wife and I, it's like ideal. I mean, dude, I would go. Okay, imagine this. I'm driving into an office. I go to a desk, and then I go into meeting rooms where I have video calls with people in SF in New York all day, and then I go home. Why would I do that?
Especially in LA where you got traffic and all
No,
that.
Yeah.
I mean, but then
Oh my
you're
God.
driving. How far was your drive?
Like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay,
But still, that's like
But
close to
that's
it.
you. Most people on average have at least a 30-minute to an hour commute.
But even then, he's wasting 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just
driving.
kind of stressful, like traffic's just stressful.
It's just like time you don't get back.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's way better for me and my routine and overall happiness. I have more time. I can actually like go surfing during the week. And it's like not a big deal.
So you work.
That's the only time to go surfing nowadays.
No,
It's
I
so
honestly
crowded.
feel like
I
The
know.
beach on the weekends is terrible.
I was trying to go to work this weekend in Malibu, and before I even got to the freeway going from Pat's house, I couldn't even. I just had to turn around and go home.
Yeah.
It took me like 2 hours to
Yeah.
go. Like,
I won't even go towards PCH when it's the weekend. It's
But
not
like,
even worth it.
here's my prediction. Like this pandemic, I was arguing with Oleg about this. Like, I don't know, 2 months ago on the podcast. He's just the funniest guy ever. It's like, Oleg, our world, like as we know it, like will never be the same again.
Definitely not.
Right. And he was like, oh, what do you mean? Like China's already back to normal. Like everything's going to go back to normal eventually when this is over. And I'm like, yeah, I think things will go back to how they were, but there will be a lot of things that will never be the same again. Even if it's just the way we look at diseases.
I mean, to
Totally
be honest,
agree.
in some ways, I'm glad it happened because, with all due respect, and I'm born and raised in America, but Americans are filthy. Like, they don't have good cleaning habits, and I think that we needed this. Like, you go in a subway in Japan and you can eat off the floor. And you go in the subway in New York City, and I feel like I'm going to get tetanus just sitting in the chairs.
Not when I was there the other day. It smelled like fresh.
Yeah, but that's now. That's what I'm saying. Now we've become so conscious and aware.
I heard that about Japan. That's like the
You can
model.
eat off the floor
Oh,
anywhere.
yeah.
There's no trash, and it's really crowded. There's no trash or litter.
There's no
same
trash.
in Korea. Korea is very similar.
They take pride in
In
everything
Seoul.
they have. Like, there are cars that are 20 years old that look brand new that people are driving because they take such good care of their
That's dope.
belongings.
I love that.
Whereas Americans, we have this like Walmart mentality
Yeah, it's
where it's like
throwaway.
the
Everything's
newest,
throwaway.
the newest iPhone's out. Oh, let me cop that. Oh, the newest DVD. Oh, no, we're not on the DVD thing. We're on the Blu-ray. Oh, we're not on the Blu-ray thing. We're on the whatever the next fucking thing is. It's like, oh, I've had this car for 5 years. Time to trade it in and get a new one.
Yeah.
We don't take care of our things and take pride in them the way that I see many other cultures do, which is sad, really. I think that feeds into a lot of the BS.
It almost sickens me to see how much trash just we produce every day. Just us in this house. And everywhere. Where's all this trash going? It's just...
Into the ocean.
I just heard that
Yeah.
a lot of the problem with the global warming
Ozone?
issue is these dumps are producing methane gas. All this
Oh, yeah.
rotting stuff.
They're burning the trash.
Well, no, they're not burning it. It's just rotting and making
It's like
methane.
literally like fermenting and like just releasing that gas into the atmosphere. Yeah,
That's
I don't know. We
insane.
can't continue doing this.
we're
I
having
mean,
a
we can't.
substantially negative effect on the world, on the environment and the earth.
I mean,
Yeah.
put aside nuclear power and fossil fuels and all that, just the trash. I mean, every time we get food delivered or we eat out, more trash. Or even
Yeah.
when we go to the store, we have trash.
One of the big benefits we've noticed is so my wife and I, through our jobs, when we were going to the office, they gave us free food. Enormously grateful for that. It's like insane that they would give us to us.
Is it good?
Really
Yeah.
good. Really good.
Yeah. My
Breakfast-
sister
Work
works
in
at
this-
Facebook.
Do you work at this? Oh.
No, my sister works I've never been to your campus, but my sister works at Facebook and they have good food.
Yeah.
Like, I would just go there for the food. They have a whole store full of free snacks. Just
Whoa.
all
Yeah.
the snacks you could
mean
imagine.
Even if you're a glutton, you can just go eat it?
You can just walk
just
in,
have
you can take
unlimited.
unlimited.
Wow.
Like, it's as if there was a vending machine and you didn't have to put any money in it, but it was the
Like,
the
at our-
mecca of vending machines.
I mean, like
it was
on
a
our
whole
campus.
room.
Yeah, like on our campus.
That's so wonderful.
It's
yeah,
insane.
on our campus in SF, they just had like ice cream machines. You just go up and you could just have as much ice cream as you wanted.
Wow.
It's like a kid's
Okay,
dream.
so trash. Where's the trash going?
I saw this Futurama episode.
the
Do you know
ocean.
Futurama?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that show.
Where, like, in 2019, they sent their trash into space. They're like, oh, we'll just get rid of it like that. And then it came back and,
Yeah.
1,000 years later or whatever it is, and just bombarded the Earth. And I don't know, it was funny.
The trash
That's ultimate karma.
came back to Earth.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
just,
2,000 years later or whatever that is. And
it's just like rained trash. Or?
I can't remember exactly what happened. And then they had another ridiculous fix for it. So it's going to happen again. Like,
Right.
yeah.
What, so what
like
should
another
we do?
1,000 years.
I mean, you have to look at what industries are causing the most harm. So obviously there's oil and and then there's clothing. Clothing, I think, is the second or third biggest pollutant in the world. And people don't realize it. It's like an undercover pollutant. The amount of fast fashion and factories that are making clothing for the entire world and the amount of people that grow out of clothing and get rid of clothing and donate clothing and throw it away, there's not enough resources to keep up with all that waste.
It's not plastic.
Plastic would be one of them, one of the top ones, but clothing actually is up there.
It's amazing we produce all that, and then there's so much that we can't even deal with the trash.
I
and
mean,
the
I
waste.
know this is gonna sound fucked up, but like,
Oh, come on. Let's hear it.
what we produce in this house is just. I know Veronica's probably going to be annoyed with me for saying this, but I just feel like you said it, like what one of those companies does in like a half a day is more than we will do in this house
In 10 years.
in
Yeah.
the whole time we're in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
So
agree.
when so
You
I
have to
don't
look at
even-
the big people.
I trip more on like that's like I don't know, like I think about I wonder if there's anything that
But then
we
you,
can-
you also have to realize like the more micro decisions that you make, others are making,
Yeah.
and it's like the reason
No,
those
that's
companies
great.
are doing
and
it, right?
And we do. She has influenced me to, like, we don't use paper plates anymore.
That's good.
We rarely use the plastic cups. I used to not give a fuck about any of that. And now I'm just kind of like, okay. But, like, I'm just saying I think about things in, like, well, I wonder if there's anything that we can do on this podcast to affect change on a bigger, the actual, like, that's how I think
You can educate people more about it and educate them on what they should be buying.
I'm talking about even on a
I feel
bigger
like I
level.
feel like affecting like big macro change like that is so much about just raising everybody's consciousness about a lot of these
doing
things.
the micro.
Because at the end of the day, like the only way there's these big changes that happen is if the majority of people are thinking about the amount that they waste.
Yeah, it comes down to individuals.
Yeah,
for any
'cause-
change. Yeah.
It does, but, like, if you own, that's why it's cool.
Or
to see companies, most companies,
or
are
if you have a
trick-owners.
if you have a platform like if you're Joe Rogan, he has other ways he can affect the world.
He has a huge footprint where he could affect people.
Well, and you better believe that he is, by bringing on the right people. He's always has on someone. Every single person that comes on his podcast is, like,
influential.
trying to do something
and he's curating it.
good. Yeah, whether it's like.
I feel like he's just curious, which is so cool
He is
because
naturally
he's just
curious.
he's just so curious. It's like opening up Pandora's box, and I feel like every time Joe Rogan is doing it, it's just magic.
But I'm just wondering, like, what is the solution?
Well, I think the solution's already happening.
Right.
Is I'll pay more money for company. Now I'm buying stuff. If it's made in the USA, I'll buy and I'll spend more. I won't even quite. And it's not like I'm loaded with money. And I'll buy products that I know that are conscientiously produced.
Yeah.
Conscientiously.
But also do your
That's a
research
really-
because I'm finding out that some of these companies, like when
Are
they use the
lying.
word
They're
sustainable,
lying.
Yeah, it's bullshit. a lot of
sustainable
times.
can just mean that they use like a half a cup of less of water to make something. Like I found out that because I have a girlfriend that works in the fashion industry, she said that vegan leather actually causes more pollution than leather.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy.
You got to weave through all the bullshit, but you can use like Dr. Bronner soap,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't know. There's other things, and there's new companies like the guy who's cleaning out the oceans, like Joe Rogan had on, the plastic guy.
Well, that's what I'm
He's
saying.
recycling and making products out
It's
of that.
amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
I would buy that.
That's why I think, it's like companies like, even like Verizon and whatever big tech companies, like they're the ones, like the people figuring out the technology to do the shit like that. Like that's what's up.
And the movement towards electric cars, which I don't know, the battery waste, I don't know what that is, but at least if it's not doing much, it's a step in
That's
the
the
right
one thing I
direction.
can't do.
So that's
I just
something
can't
we
do
end
the
up
battery
talking-
car thing. I
Why?
just can't. I just can't stand it.
What?
The fucking battery car. I can't do it, dude.
We're all
I
gonna-
want
we're all
to
gonna-
hear.
You're going to be driving one in
Fine,
less than 10
but
years.
I'll be the last person to get the battery car.
Why?
Because I just like the sound of an engine. I want to hear that exhaust.
But
Like
they can put speakers in the do that.
that's not the same thing. That's fake. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
So wait. So you like to have like lots of like controlled explosions, like
I don't
happening
think
in
about
front
it
of
like
you?
that. I just
That's what's
like the
happening.
sound of a car, and I feel like I like the feel of an engine. Your car, I feel like I'm in for context, Matt has a Tesla, and I feel like we're in this like battery car, and without a warning, I mean, it's kind of cool because you always do it for the shock value. You just tap it or floor it the tiniest bit, and it's like you're jolting in outer space, and it's cool.
It's like a rocket ship, huh?
But I just
yeah.
like the feeling. I like the sound of an engine. I like the sound of the exhaust. I like hearing a motor when I'm pressing the gas pedal. I call me old school in that
Yeah,
way.
for sure.
I think-
bet you can
what'll-
still have that.
and I like using.
I think
paper
what's going to end up
plates.
happening is like
I mean, all that. It's
They're
just-
just gonna there are going to be car manufacturers like Range Rover, Porsche. They're going to make electric cars that feel like gas cars.
Right. That makes sense.
Like it will be indistinguishable. It'll probably just be way faster.
That would be cool.
That's what they're going to do.
Then I could get into it. But
Yeah.
you know, one thing I will say though is that I feel good about our future because I definitely see that younger generations, like the people who are older than us, I don't feel like they set us up to succeed. Whereas now these younger generations, they actually give a shit about the environment. They actually care. And I feel like that's what has been raising consciousness, is because a lot of these younger generations, they don't support the bigotry. They don't support the hate. They don't support the pollution. And it seems like the younger generations, even when you see these people on TikTok, they're so much more woke than I think our parents were at that age.
It's interesting when you look at the younger generation, though, because as woke as it seems like the younger generation is, even in standing for something like Black Lives Matter, which is an incredibly impactful and important movement, like when you're looking at these progressive movements, oftentimes it can also have really negative side effects around things like free speech. Because at the end of the day, like a lot of this cancel culture is rooted in some element of limiting of free speech. And that's a blurry line. That's a really slippery slope.
So wait, what do you mean? Like what are you saying exactly about like?
Well, because I think it's like, I think there's a difference between what people say and the actions that they take.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's
Talk is cheap.
Yeah, but
So
again,
have you ever? Oh man, I feel like I want to just fucking play this fucking video. Like, have you ever heard like the explanation of like what's really going on?
Oh God, the post from Tito Ortiz. I fact checked that. A lot of it's not even true. People. There's so many commentators and opinions out there that people are not doing the research to actually find out if the stuff that they're spreading is true or not. That's the one, and I will say that's like a huge negative, because I think that people have really blurred the lines between opinion and fact.
So you think that, like, do you know anyone who's racist?
Yes.
Who?
Offhand?
Like, do you personally know?
Yes. In my walk of life, yes, I have known people who are racist.
Like who?
I have an ex-boyfriend whose father's racist.
Right.
Yeah.
But what degree?
To the degree that they didn't want me with him because I wasn't white, and that they wanted him to be with a white girl, and they basically, what is it called? Like disown? Is that the word I'm looking for? They like disowned their son for being with me.
What about you?
I don't feel like I'm around people that are overtly racist, but I feel like I'm surrounded by people that are unconsciously biased all the time.
I think everybody is, even unconscious or conscious. I mean, I don't,
Because the reality is, for our lives getting to this point, racism and bias has been a really big part of culture, and society forms your opinions and the way your brain works.
Yeah, you have to actively be non-biased.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, also it's different. I mean, like when you're white, you don't experience the same
Hold on though.
type of racism.
You're saying that how do you know for sure that, like, I have all different types of people working for me, Hispanics, blacks, women. I literally have zero. I'm like, oh, what are you gonna do? Can you do it good? I don't even see. What does it matter how much melatonin's in your skin? I don't know why that would even.
It doesn't, but to some people it does.
For me, it's literally not even a thing, and I don't think I've my uncle was in prison, so he had to deal with some of that stuff, and I think he kind of influenced my brother a little bit back in the day, but now I know my brother's not tripping on any of that. I don't really think I've ever known anyone who was actually racist. And you're saying you can mention that one person. Think about all the people you've met.
I was bullied in high school by these guys on the football team who called me, I don't know if I should say it, but Sand N.
Right.
The Sand N word. I was called that in high school after 9/11. That's extremely racist. That
Yeah.
scarred me for many
But
years.
are they
For
just
sure.
bullies, or do they really hate?
This
Or are
is
they
what I'm
just
saying,
bullies?
is I think that
you
they're-
know.
I think it's both.
Well,
because,
I think a lot of people just say shit because they can.
well, yeah, and
But they don't
it's,
actually think that you're inferior.
but
If
that's the
anything,
thing. It's
they are
being not
afraid of you 'cause you're
informed. It's
superior.
It's opinion. That's what I'm saying. It's not education. I mean, to call me the sand N. First of all, that was after 9/11. Wrong fucking country. I mean, educate yourself. I mean, Bin Laden was from Iraq, Saudi Arabia, not Iran. And for you to say things like that to someone like me just shows that you're so willing to be a part of something that you don't even know anything about, and that just spreads hate. And the more that this guy called me that, other guys would join in and then start calling me terrorist. And
Did you talk back to them or anything?
yeah, I did. But when you're a girl who's dark skinned in a predominantly white town, and it's a group of guys who are bigger than you saying these things to you.
I'm not saying you should have. I'm just asking.
Oh, I definitely did, but I didn't put myself in a situation to be at risk of being hurt, if that's what you mean. Like I said what I needed to say and I left. That was it. You know, I didn't get into a fist fight, which,
Did your feelings get hurt?
of course, yeah, it definitely diminished my self-esteem and put me in a situation where, to be honest with you, and I don't admit this to many people because it's kind of embarrassing, but to be totally vulnerable, I didn't admit to people that I was Persian until I was in my 30s. I met my husband telling him that I was part Italian and part Austrian, or so, I don't even know what I said, but I didn't admit that I was Persian for many years after because I was ashamed and denounced my own culture.
Wow.
Like that's an entire part of me. That's my ancestry, and
Are you
I
100%
cast it away.
Persian, or are you?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Does the black? Are you black?
No, I'm Middle Eastern.
Right. No, I'm just saying because it's Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So, but what about you
Well,
and
that's
all the racism you've experienced?
yeah, but that's not the topic of conversation.
But
so
why
I'm
not?
I'm not. Well, it's not.
Like why?
Because
Are
I think,
we,
but I think because I think part of it is when you look at like the experience for Black people in America, and like what those families of it's like generational trauma
Yes.
from
for sure but
systemic
I'm
racism.
I'm kind of realizing right now as Suzi's talking, I feel like if you're Muslim or even resembling anything from like the Eastern, that it probably would be even worse for you, considering that we're at war and.
Worse
just
or not
different
worse,
here, dude.
what he's
Like-
saying is these people have lived in America
Yeah.
for generations, so it's a specific American
Yes.
issue.
Yeah, like this is an American thing that's been taking place over
Some of
hundreds
the
of
first,
years.
America
first
was-
settlers here, first people were Black people.
America was built on the labor of Black people, basically, not on the labor of Middle Eastern people. So
Yeah.
that's why it's such a prevalent issue, because this dates back years in our American history. Have I experienced racism as a Middle Eastern person growing up in America? Absolutely.
Because
You know
it's,
what's-
Pat, the difference is like Suzi having this experience, this really unfortunate and obviously like traumatic experience, but it's more like imagine your great grandfather was like was a slave and like abused and then your grandfather like maybe went through the civil rights movement, for example, and stood up and made progress, but maybe was killed then again by like really heinous racist people.
Yeah, no, I get it. I
And so
believe that
it's like
a
passed
thing.
it's like passed down over and over again. And then when you have a video like George Floyd come up, it's like it's not changing.
Triggering.
Like it's still there, you know.
Right.
So
But
I think
it
that's
is
why
changing. It is changing.
It is definitely changing. Like it's just one thing that actually makes me really happy about technology is like it's like a fucking spotlight. It's like every like don't get me wrong, like there's a lot of problems with everything being on camera and recorded, like just around personal privacy and but it'll shine light on terrible things for sure. And it's doing that, like having
Cell phones.
like perfect connectivity, which is like kind of what we were talking about earlier with
Perfect.
5G.
I mean, you think about it, you're seeing more
Perfect
videos
what?
like that now than you were before, because a lot of people weren't didn't have the money to afford phones. And now phones have become much more affordable throughout the years. So people in lower income brackets can afford. And so it's not like this stuff didn't exist before. We just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Perfect whatativity?
Oh, connectivity.
Connectivity?
Connectivity.
Oh, yeah. And video.
Because it's like even today, like you can't really live stream in like really high quality everywhere right now with 4G.
No.
With 5G, you will be able to, for sure. Maybe not if you're like in
But
some
so
mountain.
the
or
reason that I'm
whatever.
bringing this up, though, is because
Yeah.
you said that there was a problem with free speech when it comes to these movements.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think
totally.
like
It's
And I was
scary.
just wondering what you were, like, specifically what you meant.
I just think it's tough whenever it's like, do you have free speech or do you not have free speech? This is actually like a kind of a binary thing where the second there's one thing that you can't say, you no longer have free speech.
So that's
It makes me think of communist Russia and Nazi Germany because that's where it starts. That's where that shit starts. When you can't say something or the truth or speak of things, that's the beginning.
Yeah, so I'm asking these questions, right? And I'm trying to really get to the bottom of it, and I'm trying to really, like, I just think it's hard to talk about this shit because we all have, especially if you're black, like, you have an emotional attachment to certain things, but I definitely think that there's an agenda. Like, I think it's more of a class thing than anything else, and like a money hierarchy thing, and like a media thing, and like
It's about control.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, there
a
was
lot of that.
don't-
It feels like there's a lot of
Seneca
that going on.
Park in Manhattan, which is a part of Central Park now. Seneca Park historically was actually where the upper middle class black people lived. And they were doing really well there. And they established themselves in Seneca Park. And what happened was, what's something in like the real estate world is called eminent domain. It's when the government can come in and take over land and say that they're going to use it for the public, and you don't really have a say over that as individuals of a society. And so what the government did was they placed eminent domain over Seneca Park, and they forced all the black people out of that neighborhood, and they built part of that as now what's part of Central Park. That's control. That's a business. That's
So,
a hierarchy.
Matt,
that's classism.
Okay, I want to show you this thing. It's like 5 minutes. I want you to hear it and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
see what you think about this.
This is basically how
Oh,
it's
man.
explained to me. So right here you have MSNBC, CNN, ABC. This one's going to be Fox. We're just going to put that guy on the side. It says highlighter, not Hitler. Calm down, everybody. And here you have Black Lives Matter. So who owns Black Lives Matter? Who invests in Black Lives Matter? Well, the Clinton Foundation.
Not true.
Who else? George Soros. And this is Antifa. So now you have an event. The major news networks have to cover the event. An African-American man is killed by police. It doesn't matter that he's a felon. Doesn't matter that he put a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach and did 5 years. It doesn't matter that he was in jail for cocaine. It doesn't matter that at the time of his arrest, he was on methamphetamine and fentanyl and was positive for COVID-19. Let's just throw all that out. That doesn't matter. Okay? Unjustly murdered by a police officer. So, the call comes down the pipeline. We gotta organize. So Black Lives Matter organizes all these peaceful protests, right? And they're all protesting, and they're fucking outraged, justifiably. But what else do you have? You have Antifa, who's paid for by George Soros. These are highly trained professional rioters and escalators. So they move in and disperse throughout all the different riots, right? And then the Clinton Foundation pumps money into promoting this stuff on social media and pushing the movement. And so the networks all scramble because they're filming the social unrest. As these people are protesting, these professional rioters and looters start setting fires. They burn cop cars. They set up brick pallets. They destroy public property. And they stay in the shadows and hide behind and make it look like Black Lives Matter and African American culture as a movement is unruly, violent, and insane. The media then fucking films all of this shit, and this is all you see in your entire feed. But George Soros and Ted Turner and fucking Turner Broadcasting and the Rockefellers and the fucking list goes on, the Rothschilds, they own most of these media companies. And the media companies are making billions of dollars by advertising because everyone's transfixed to the news and everyone's talking about it. So what happens is that the same people who instigate the event and organize the protest and escalate the protest make money off the African American community's outrage and further deplete the morality of the United States. Additionally, while all this is going on, Hillary Clinton and her buddies are all on trial. And they don't want this shit on the news. So this is a huge gaslight, and people are not paying attention to what's going on. Now, why would they want to do all this? Because they're afraid, first of all, that she doesn't get her appeal and she has to testify. She might be found guilty in a court and then be found guilty of treason, which would mean she would either get jail time or she'd be sentenced to death for being a traitor to America. The DNC is not going to be looked at a very good light in an upcoming election if that's the case. These people, right, the same people, these companies, all the same six big families, they're the ones who make money off outsourcing all of our products and all of these services that we do to China. Okay, Donald Trump puts tariffs on everything that comes in from China so that they have to pay a tax to America so that we can rebuild our economy, which takes money away from these families. They desperately don't want Donald Trump to stay in office because they don't want people from the DNC to be prosecuted and go to jail for treason, and they don't want to fucking pay the tariffs to China, and they don't want to build the American democracy because they're sick. They want to have control, and they've been getting away with this gaslighting situation on the American people for so many years. They feel entitled to it. There's a huge fucking problem going on where we have turned into this citizens policing other citizens over a veil of racism that doesn't exist. I'm African American. I'm 38 years old. I've grown up in this country, and I have not experienced actual racism. I have spent 20 years traveling through 48 states and how many countries? I don't know. Let's say 50 countries all over the world. We don't have a problem with race here, and it's all manufactured. And yes, there is systemic racism, but the systematic racism is put in place by people like this. George Soros made his money by selling Jews to the Nazi Party, by ratting people out. That's how he made his thing. Okay? Hillary Clinton is friends with David Duke, who's the head of the KKK. The Democratic Party is the party that lost the Civil War. The Democrats wanted to keep slavery. That's what people don't understand. In 1856, the Democrats started the KKK. And I don't understand why we've erased this from the history books. And you can literally just look this up on Google. It's just facts. Just do your own research. So before you get upset, before you start to look at what's going on, before you are told the problem in America, just ask yourself what your own personal reality is. Are you racist? Do you really think you're racist? Do you really see a problem here? You see a video on YouTube, you see this, you don't know the statistics. You don't know that 95% of African American men who are killed by other African American men. Black Lives Matter isn't there because it doesn't serve this fucking system. It's a political system, and they're using African Americans and African American pain and tragedy as a political shield to get their agendas done. And we have to stop this. That's it.
Someone sent me that video. I don't know anything. I just this guy actually might do the podcast. This is a singer of a band called Bad Wolves.
Sick name.
Yeah,
George Soros made money selling Jews. He was born in 1930. Just Google it. He would have been like 12 doing that. It just pisses me off. Like, people putting this information out there, this is not informed.
Hold on one second.
It's bullshit.
Okay, but that's the problem, is that you get people, everyone gets angry. right? And we can't have a conversation.
Well, let's look at it this way.
That's the whole problem.
Well, no, I've already had the conversation with you. That's
Let's just
that's what I'm
approach
just
it
saying.
this
But
way.
I don't know.
Facts, maybe not facts. True, maybe not true. But the dynamic he's talking about has some weight.
Yes,
Yeah,
that I agree with.
That's what resonated with me is he's asking, I think, the right question,
Wait,
which
before
is
you answer, what is gaslighting exactly? What does that mean? He said that a couple times.
I think it's like I think he's referring to like it's like look over here.
Deferring,
yeah,
like
it's
exactly.
smokescreen.
deferring
Which
attention.
for me, it makes sense because I'm like, wait a second. The Rothschilds and for me, it's like wherever the money is, that's like where the problem is.
Yeah, so
And when 1% of our nation controls 90% of our money, that's the problem, right? And no president has ever had like the financial stability to not take orders from those people. Like, I don't really know what's going on. All I know is like I've always felt like whoever's the president is just a puppet for the people that really have the money and the power.
it's definitely true.
So I'm thinking, okay, wait. So yeah, like for the first time ever, like we actually have someone who like doesn't need that money, who doesn't give a fuck about that. And whether you like this dude or not, like I probably wouldn't fuck with this guy. I wouldn't want to be his friend. Like he doesn't seem like a cool dude. But like if there's one thing I know, like he knows like business and he knows how to generate money. And like from what I've been hearing, I don't know shit, like I said. And that's one thing I love about Joe is he's always like, I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
I know from what I've heard that the economy is doing better. There's like so many more jobs for so many black people. And I also believe that like what he said, the statistics are that like most black people are getting killed by other black people. And obviously there are cops killing black people and that's fucked up. But there's also cops killing white people. And there's just a bunch of fucked up shit happening. And black lives do matter. I'm like all fucking down for it, but let's not like forget about like what's could potentially really be happening because we're so caught up on like fighting each other.
Dude, 100%. And I think what you're asking and what he's asking, it's the same thing. It's like who stands to benefit from this?
Exactly.
Because someone's benefiting, dude.
Right.
Someone's benefiting.
And when you have huge brick pallets, what the
Actually,
where the fuck did that come from?
I actually kind of have a crazy story. So I went to North Hollywood. Suzi's husband Pat was doing a job there, and I went there to go help him board it up because there's about to be a bunch of protests on the street there. And so I cruised up. My car is really similar to Veronica's. It's like all blacked out Audi Q7. And I hopped out of the car. I wear the same thing every day. Like what I wear now is literally what I wear every day.
Right on.
And I had a black mask on. Uh-huh. And so I hopped out of this car and walked up, and there were two local business owners sitting in front of the shop next to the one he was working on. They immediately stood up. Oh no, I had takeout in one hand, and then this is a stupid thing to do, but I had a bat in the other hand. The reason I had the bat is because this was like mid crazy protests going on, and I was just like, I'm not like going out into that without some form of protection. Uh-huh. But I got out of the truck, and these two guys came up to me, ready to fuck me up. They looked me in the eye and they were like, who are you fucking with right now? And I stopped, I dropped it, I pulled my mask down, and like I talked.
So who did that to you?
These were just two guys who were like running a sushi shop next to.
And they looked at you like, "What's up, fool?"
Oh, they came up to me and were like, they were gonna fuck me up.
Right.
So I immediately just dropped my stuff, put it down. I talked them down. They were still very suspicious of me. I walked over. They went and took photos of my license plate, like. And so, anyways, that happened. It was really tense. And then eventually they knew Pat. He came. We connected.
He vouched for you.
Yeah, we chilled. Like it calmed down. And then I started talking to them, and they opened up to me as to why. And I was like, why were you guys so freaked out? And they said, well, there's been protests going up and down in North Hollywood. And they were like, we were at one of the protests last night, And as the protest was starting, it was peaceful. Actually, he said as it was ending. As the protest was winding down, the whole thing had been peaceful. They said, we saw a blacked out BMW come up that looks just like your car. 3 people get out with bricks and bats that look just like you, tall, skinny white guys wearing all black. And then that's when it got violent. Was like those people like came in and it was like surgical. And then they thought I was like scoping. But that made me think of like the Antifa.
I mean, dude,
alter
it's just
agenda,
like,
but
just, I don't know. I feel like I've always just kind of had like, I don't know shit again.
There's definitely more than meets the eye with all this
Yeah,
stuff.
and
There has to be.
also like a lot of like, just like, it just sounds so like naive and like pretentious and like entitled for a white privileged male to say this, but like love, like it's only gonna get solved with like love.
Yeah.
From both sides, right? So I get it. Like, and I've had CJ, one of my guys that works here with me, who's like born and raised in South Central, and he's like just like really dope, like black kid. And my stepsister is half black, and Nate was black, and so Nate is half black, right? Angry, resentful, totally like chip on his shoulder, like he'll never be okay with anything. There's no way to make him like happy. He's just because I feel like he almost wants to be upset about something.
Victim.
You know? Yeah, right. And so CJ was kind of just, he's on some like love dope. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really have an issue. Like, I'm not really feeling a problem, you know? Like, obviously 100 years ago there was a fucking problem. But right now, I don't know. Like, I don't really know if the problem is as bad as, and it seems definitely like there's something's fueling the fire, and it's like anger, rage, resentment. It's like, yes, good, let's keep this going. Like, when what is really happening, we're not really figuring that out because people are getting angry. Like, you got angry.
Well, I only got angry because I've heard you talk about this so many times. That's the only reason. But if it would have been the first time, I would have been like, okay, whatever, I'll hear this out. But because I've literally heard this so many times, it was just like, oh my God, not again. So that was really why.
And the thing here is, no matter what goes on in a capitalistic society, some group is going to profit off of what's happening. And they're going to condone it, and they're going to feed into it to make more money. So yes, it's complicated. Nothing's simple. Everything's very complicated.
Yeah.
And also the lives matter, Black Lives Matter. I mean, yeah, the sentiment is good, but are we not perpetuating a victim mentality for black people by doing this?
That's a valid point to question.
But also, are we not standing up and saying there's enough is enough?
I'm fucking up, and I'm like, yo, if you're fucking on that tip, fuck you. I'm not on that tip. Like, I'm trying to hire whoever I can, whoever the best man. And I feel like everyone I know is like, all of us are. Everyone I know, all my friends are. I don't know a single person that's like actually racist. I mean, I have friends like Salty or like who like make stupid jokes and like might call people, but they don't really think any less of a person who has a different color skin. That's so ignorant.
But it's also,
yeah, they always say it's just a different color. It is not. It's a complete different culture.
I think that's
a culture.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
I
a
respect
color.
all cultures.
And I've been beat the fuck out of by black guys for no apparent reason.
Right.
And I grew up in the system where white boys are the minority.
Those
so
are just ignorant people.
well, yeah, but ignorant people are ignorant people, whether they're black or white.
And they're out there. I don't.
Or whatever.
More than half this country, I think, is extremely ignorant.
I don't agree with that. I don't think half our country is that stupid. I really don't.
Okay, maybe they're not stupid,
like the
but
youth.
they have their
I
own
never
agenda.
said stupid.
Maybe they're angry.
Yeah, but for someone to be racist, they have to be like very, very stupid. Like this level of ignorance of someone.
Ignorance and stupidity are not the same thing.
Yeah, they don't, but they're not the same.
They're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Ignorance is different. You can be educated and you can choose to be a bigot.
I
You
think
can be
because of
smart
what
as
you've
fuck
seen.
and
Yeah.
be a bigot.
I think
Yeah.
I honestly just think if you're genuinely racist, you're just a total fucking
What
idiot.
is racist exactly?
It's being prejudiced towards someone or a group of people based on the color of their skin
Is it
or their
prejudice or
background.
hate?
I believe prejudice is sort of like the same thing. It's like,
I think it's different.
Well,
Prejudice. I feel like-
prejudice is like a judgment call. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
But-
judging
but
them
hate-
because
hate
of that.
is different.
Okay,
Hate
so
is-
then, yeah, I think you're right. It's hate. I think racism would be hate, whereas prejudice would be judgment. I think you're right.
but it is interesting.
Do you think Donald Trump's racist?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he hates black people, but I definitely think he's prejudiced.
He's
'Cause
prejudiced.
he's older. He
prejudiced.
came from that
What
culture.
about
My uncles are too.
Hold up, though. What about all the rap songs he's been in? What about before he became president? He was like down with like mad black fools, and mad black fools were down with him.
Wait,
And
but
then
you're-
as soon
I
as
still think
as
he
soon
probably
as
judged
he-
them.
As soon
Yeah.
as I don't know, I think for us to even make that judgment call that's it.
Well, here's the reason I say that, because my uncles are the same generation as him,
Right, and
and they
they're all-
talk all kinds of N-word stuff and
so
all that
fucked
shit,
up.
and they laugh about it.
See, I think
I don't
that-
think they hate black people, but I think they come from a generation where that was just commonplace and cool.
Yeah.
It was cool to be like that.
Like I think that for me, like sometimes it's hard for me to like understand certain shit because I've been the way I've been for so long.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me to even understand how someone would be.
You know what? You want me to share something? I don't know how fucked up this is going to be and who's going to come after me. But okay, my stepdad, he rents low income. He owns and rents low. He's a slumlord of sorts, right? And so he has rented to many black people, and they have fucked his apartments up, shit in the toilets till they're clogged and piled. And then he'll rent to a Mexican family that's hardworking. They keep their apartment clean. They pay the rent. He won't even rent to black people anymore because he's had so many bad experiences of them just being like fucking animals and not giving a shit. Maybe they're getting back at the white man. Who knows what their mentality is. But that's real life. That's like really something that happened in his life, and that's the reason for him not wanting to rent it. He has some black tenants. Some are really cool. But in general, he's very skeptical.
Is this that Mark guy?
It's my yeah.
He's made a generalization based on experiences that have crossed
and
his
for
path.
him, it affects his income and what he has to clean up after and all this stuff and not getting rents. So
Well, that's the thing about like the victim mentality is I feel like if you're angry because of shit that happened to either your
I don't think he's angry. He's just
no,
I'm not
I'm not
gonna
talking
rent to
about
those
him.
people.
I'm not talking about him. I'm
Oh.
talking about like my friend Nate, who's like just angry and he's just a victim. He goes around acting a certain way because he feels that he's been done, and that's where I think the love comes in.
What's so weird about that? I don't even see him as a black guy. I see your friend from South
That's the
Central as a
crazy
black
part,
guy.
is CJ is
Nate,
like
I can't even
actually-
tell what he is.
No, that's the thing is Nate's more white than he is black. Like his dad's out of the picture and his mom's white, and he grew up in Agora, but he's like the guy that's I don't know. It's just like I just think that
Did he grow up in privilege?
no.
I feel like you can't really grow up in Agora and not have some sort of privilege.
Well,
He was
what
in
do you
little
call
Tijuana.
privilege?
No, he definitely didn't have much, but I mean, no, I mean you know the apartments across from
Yeah, I know. I knew what you meant.
That's
Across
like-
from Agora Deli.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
The
But
attitude.
still, that's like
Dude, that is nice.
that's still that's
Can
still
you compare to what I
privilege.
grew up in?
I feel like he has resentment for something that has to do with the way he grows up. But
Yeah.
here, you can't say that you grew up out in this area and not have been spoiled in some way.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean, you're lucky. I've been to many countries. You are very lucky
Yeah.
to grow up in an area like this. Areas like this don't exist
Hey,
everywhere.
even in this country, go down to South Central. It's
yeah,
scary.
it's
Okay,
very
yeah,
scary.
So he was privileged for sure.
That's actually the way I've been trying to view a lot of this, just in my personal experience and day to day, is recognizing that at least for me, I know that I come from a place of enormous privilege, and not trying to impose or act like I know what it's like, and just literally just try and like be open, like listen and learn, and how I can change and help folks that are going through this struggle. That's the way I've been trying to approach it. And I work with a lot of people that like feel strongly about this movement and advocate strong for it, but like not blind advocation. Like, how do we take real steps to like make changes to the system to change these things, you know?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Having
really
difficult
hard.
conversations with people sometimes.
Like one thing we're looking at is like how do we lower some of the requirements in which we hire people into technical roles. So like technical roles.
But is that the right thing to do? If they're not as good at the job, why would you hire them over somebody who's better?
Well, there's certain jobs within our field that don't require like a 4-year degree to be great at. Like, for example, one of the roles that we have is it's called quality assurance testing. So we create a new version of the app and it needs to be tested. Like, we need people that can use it and report back issues.
you don't need a 4-year degree.
So that's
to
like
do
a
that.
good role. Like, you get someone who's like young, tech savvy, like hungry, wants to work hard. Like, a lot of people can do that job. So we're trying to find opportunities like that to bring more people in. But yeah, I think just like as a white person of privilege, it's hard to come in with too hard of a take on it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what
I don't know anything. All I know is
that's what I've been. It's like,
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that we shouldn't help people, but I just don't know what the right way to do it is, right? Because
I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. Yeah, no, I don't think there's a right or a wrong necessarily. I think it's what works best for you. And I think it's about having those conversations of like, hey, I don't know anything. What can I do? How can I help? You know, I had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine who's black, and I said, what can I do to support you right now? And she said, just stay educated. Tell your friends. Tell your friends to get educated. And if you hear anyone say something derogatory, correct them.
But how do you get educated?
You do your research. You look into the history of why this all started, kind of like what we talked
Like,
about.
how? Like, what have you found out?
So, for example, the thing I talked about with Seneca Village in Central Park, that's something I learned in this. And I was even a history major. And I know a lot about black history because I was a history major. But I didn't realize that the government took over black people's land and literally took it away from them to their own gain and benefit for money.
Well, just look at it this way, too. Now, again, I'm going to just be honest. And, you know, if you want to beat me up after, you can try. White people in their nice neighborhoods didn't even want black people moving in.
Yep.
Because it lowers real estate value. So what I've seen over the last 20 years is there's way more black people in these areas than there ever was. So to me, that's progress.
I totally agree.
I mean, I rarely ever saw a black person in the valley, and especially up here in the exclusive areas. But I see them pretty common now. It's pretty common.
And we took a huge step forward, and this is good, and we should keep stepping forward. But I think the real issue is with these fucking 1%ers.
yeah, actually, I wanted to talk about that. Like, it's not just about media too. If you think about, we were talking about commerce and like supporting local sustainable businesses. Mm-hmm. Like Jeff Bezos has $100 billion.
Like, what the fuck, bro?
$100 billion.
Are you still buying from Amazon?
Not as often as I was.
I mean, but that's just like, that's not going to do anything.
But it is though. That's the thing.
Could do
Every
something.
single individual who is buying from Amazon is doing something collectively.
Yeah.
He could pick one neighborhood and say, look, I'm going to do everything I can as an experiment in this neighborhood. I mean, he's never going to not have enough money.
And he's done some incredible things. I mean, he donated $10 billion for climate change. That's no joke.
Right. So why would you not buy from Amazon?
Well, if you have a problem with like 1% and the control that they exert over our society, I mean, like, Amazon is the antithesis of this. Like, he's one person that has $100 billion.
But the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and they have, it's a whole different.
I don't know how much of the media they still own, because when I looked into it, Ted Turner hasn't been involved with any media for over a decade.
They're like printing the money.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different kind of wealth. Like,
Right.
Bezos made his wealth from like doing a cool app, and like he's like a real entrepreneur. Like, these motherfuckers have been like
it's generational.
generations
Yeah.
of controlling.
I think it was
like the
over
Zeitgeist.
60%.
Actually, the Zeitgeist talks about this and how they were like.
It's
back
probably, and it's got to be connected back to like royal families. And
Oh
like,
yeah, politics dating back to like ancient Egypt.
So, like,
I mean, there's always been a hierarchy. Think about it.
Here's my thing, and then we're gonna wrap up because if we go past 2.5 hours,
just think of it like this. I just want to say this one last thing. There's leaders and there's
dies.
followers. There's always going to be a hierarchy.
It needs to be that way.
It does, because most people don't think for themselves. They need to be led. That's why it's so easy to succumb to drugs and alcohol, and to succumb to lying, and to doing all the things that, you don't have to be held accountable for.
But like, there's a lot of followers and like a lot of sheep jumping onto this, like, these movements.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, they're reacting to like regular people like me asking legitimate questions. They're reacting to us with like anger and rage, and like, and it's like, yo, like, just chill. We need to be able to talk about this shit.
It's giving nuts a chance to shine, because everybody has a voice right
and then
now.
they go out and they fucking, so it's like, here's my thing, like, these people that have the power, they're like mad smart, and they have like endless resources. So there's this guy who was one of the founders of the Black Lives Movement, like 7-8 years ago. And when I sent this video to Steve, my in my group Hypercrush, the guy who raps in my group, he's really smart, like one of the most incredible people I've ever met. He's doing all this research on you. He just knows about everything. So I sent him this video, and he's like, yeah, that shit's crazy, bro. Check this out. And he like one-upped me, and he sent me this video from 7 years ago about this black dude on his porch talking about, yo, the Black Lives Movement has been compromised. Like, they've taken over all our social media account. Like, it was crazy. This guy I can't even reiterate everything he was saying, but basically what he was saying is like, Hillary and Soros and these other people have like taken over this thing so that they can use it to like distract people. It's like, so basically what I'm saying is this is a game of chess.
Yeah.
And these fucking fools with like mad power and money are like playing that game.
I feel like they're designing the game.
For sure.
That's what's happening is like, you have people like Bezos that are like playing the game of chess really fucking well, but he's not writing the rules, dude.
No. That's what I'm saying. Okay, but so here's the thing, right? I don't fucking know anything, but if it is a game of chess, all this crazy shit is happening, like when? Like when is it happening? Like months before the election.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that tell me? That tells me that there are some people who desperately don't want this guy getting reelected. Why?
That is weird that it got crazy right before the election, right?
Right.
Things
Like why?
Yeah.
Because I think like, I don't know. This is just what my gut tells me, and it kind of like makes sense from like a bird's eye view when I'm looking down on the whole thing. It's like, okay, so this dude is not doing anything that like politicians want, because he's not a politician.
No.
He's like the first. He's like for the
He's
first
a reality star.
Well, he's actually like a legendary. First and foremost, he's like a legendary businessman, and like he's in all the rap songs. Before he was a reality star, he was like this guy who like did all this amazing stuff and was like this great entrepreneur and shit.
I mean, he also declared bankruptcy.
But he's just like a dude that like won big, right? He's not a politician. So the politicians are frantically trying to get him out, because the way shit's been for all this time is finally getting challenged by someone who actually has money. And I don't know, I never really fucked with him, nor do I, but I'm just kind of wondering, like, wow, like, what if the rebel, like, hero character looked like that?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense to me, because like the guy who is that character is always being made to look bad. And everyone's trying to make him look bad. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, if there's one thing that I can say for this guy, he doesn't like lie.
He doesn't fit the mold.
Or he doesn't like pretend to be something he's not. He's a complete asshole all the time.
That's true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
and so for me, like, I've been misjudged and misunderstood my whole life because I'm that way too. And I'm feeling like, wow, like this dude is just so like authentic. that people
it
just
does-
can't even believe that he's. Yeah, I don't know. It's like weird. I have this feeling.
It does appear that like he's just living life in constant flow. And
Right.
he just like doesn't give a fuck.
No.
Like he's just stream of consciousness all the time.
Yeah.
And he it's funny because he doesn't, well, he does lie. It does seem like he lies a decent amount, but it doesn't seem like it's necessarily always coming from a place of like, he's like trying to deceit. It's
Right.
more just like,
he was wrong.
he's just like getting it. He's just like getting it out.
He's just saying something and then it ends up being wrong.
He is pretty crafty though.
I read
sure.
that he's one
He's
of the very few presidents who actually donates their what's the word I'm looking for? Income from being president.
Let me ask you this: do you believe? Does everyone here believe that Donald Trump wants to make America great again?
How do you define "make America great again"?
I'm just saying. Do you think that that's what he wants to do by his definition?
I think so.
By his definition.
I
What's
think he
his
wants
definition?
To improve.
Well, you'd
America.
have to ask him. I'm just saying. Do you believe that his intentions are genuine?
I think that he does.
No.
So long as he also benefits.
Yes, that I agree with.
Like I think he is like, if he feels very like egomaniac.
He's a businessman. He's totally
like-
going to think of himself.
It feels like he's using this all as an opportunity for himself, but I don't think that's mutually exclusive from.
But hold up. This dude came into the presidency like a billionaire. So why would he need to?
It's like a power thing.
Because
Right.
billionaires
Okay.
think a certain
Okay.
way.
But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like
The more money you have, the more money you want.
Yeah, but like, I think why would he come? What are his intent? His intentions must be to make America great again, by his definition. I mean, obviously, why would he?
And also make sure his family and children's children are set for the rest of their lives.
Okay, and
Every
I don't
president-
And
necessarily.
his legacy lives on.
I
Okay,
think
cool. Is there something wrong with that?
No, I don't think there's anything
Right.
wrong
It
with that.
sounds like we're making that into being a bad thing.
No, I'm not an anti-Trump person by any means. I just think that there's a lot of self-servingness to his intentions.
Yeah, he seems selfish and very focused on himself. I mean, he put his name in gold on.
Yeah, but
In a
what
lot
would
of
make him
places.
look better than being a president that made America great again? I mean,
right.
that would
Exactly.
be the icing on
Jobs
his cake.
are up, economy's up.
Yeah.
If he was looked at through history,
and from what I understand, like all the statistics are up. I mean, even like this child slavery or this
Trafficking.
he's like obsessed with that.
I mean, but that's the thing, though. You're not wrong, Veronica,
That's
but I don't know
funny.
if you're right either. I mean, if he was involved with
Look,
Jeffrey Epstein,
I don't know. My thing is, I've always been like the punk rock
was
guy.
he involved with Epstein too?
yes, he was friends with Epstein. There are many photos. He's been to the island. Yeah.
So here's my thing: like when everyone's trying to hate on someone, I automatically am like,
You ask why.
yeah, like I don't just follow what everyone else is doing. So I'm just not wanting to get caught up in the hate parade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's my fear.
Did you hear the interview with Barstool Sports guy and Trump?
No.
Do you know Barstool Sports?
Yeah,
my
but who
God.
interviewed
So El
him?
Presidente.
Yeah.
Like the main guy who does the pizza reviews.
Oh yeah, he interviewed him.
He interviewed him.
fucking interviewed Trump. Wow. And it was like amazing. It was
I
like,
have to watch
wow,
it.
like I think it was the best PR move Trump ever could have done because it just showed you like, yeah, like this is a guy who's just trying to like do some good in a system that is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? And there's so many obstacles. And this guy's, it seemed to me like Trump is just like, he's so gnarly. He's such a fucking gnarly businessman that he's just like able to just like, you know how when you're like in a business, doing business, you kind of need to kind of not take anything that seriously and just keep moving forward and just like make little deals all the time. And like, he's just so good at that. And another thing is like my dad is obsessed with him, and my dad is like someone who I really fuck with and also kind of don't fuck with, or at least I thought I didn't. But the more I'm like kind of going more towards like this open-minded thing and like what's really going on here? Okay, yeah, I don't like how he acts, I don't like how he talks, but what's actually happening and what is he actually trying to do and why? And sort of been looking at some of the other sides of things. Like my whole Facebook, I don't know how this happened, maybe because I like this one fucking video, but like my whole Facebook feed now is like all like Republican shit. And everything that they say makes so much sense. It's crazy.
Well,
I mean,
minus where they stand on abortion, but yeah.
I'm not really like, I don't want to label myself anything, and I don't think we should be even doing that anymore. I think we should just be people.
Agreed.
That like find the middle ground, but like,
yeah, we need to do out with the party system.
But it definitely seems like he's our best option. I mean, Biden can't even fucking.
He can't even string words together. That guy.
It's whatever happens. It's the underdog. I feel like this guy right now is the underdog in a lot of ways because everyone fucking hates him.
But he does say a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not like I actually.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Go ahead.
So here's my thing: is Trump is whatever, but the opposition freaks me out because freedom of speech, this seems like they're on board and supporting that at least to get votes, and more government control and more hindering and taxation of private enterprise worries me a lot.
I agree.
And I think a lot of things could be solved by private enterprise. Before there was so much welfare state, private industries would give to charity.
Yep.
But now they take so much taxes and everything.
The government is too involved in business.
I think too involved in a lot of things. And people are leaving California and the United States to manufacture. I mean, they're kind of just, all the entrepreneurs are moving on because they can't make any money here.
Oh, okay, but do you think that America is a business?
America is the reality show of the world. That's what I think.
A business.
Okay, but here, check this out. This is like one of the illest scenes I've ever seen in my life. Watch this.
Opportunity and unyielding hope.
Feel better? No. There's only 30 in there. 3 guys. Yeah, I had to ask them if I should pay for the kid, but they said I should. So.
They were right, too. That's only 10 apiece.
Correct.
The price is 15.
Dylan charges 10. Recession prices, because they told me to tell you that, too.
I made a deal with Mickey for 15.
Yeah, but the way they got it, Mickey got in a fight with a whore, the dumb shit, and now they got him in a can, and you're filling in for Dylan, and you get what Dylan gets. No more. You talk to Dylan. Take it up with him.
Dylan's dead. Dylan died this morning.
They're gonna be very sorry to hear that.
Sure they are. It's gonna cost them more.
You know, this business is a business of relationships.
Yeah, and everyone loved Marky.
You are a cynical bastard, you know that?
To reclaim the American dream and reaffirm that fundamental truth that out of many we are one.
You hear that line? Line's for you.
Don't make me laugh. For one people. It's a myth created by Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, now you're gonna have a go at Jefferson, huh?
My friend Jefferson's an American saint because he wrote the words all men are created equal. Words he clearly didn't believe since he allowed his own children to live in slavery. He was a rich wine snob who was sick of paying taxes to the Brits. So yeah, he wrote some lovely words and aroused the rabble, and they went out and died for those words. While he sat back and drank his wine and fucked his slave girl. This guy wants to tell me we're living in a community. Don't make me laugh. I'm living in America. And in America, you're on your own. America's not a country. It's just a business. Now fucking pay me.
So if America is a business, which I think it is, I think it's all about money and power, then who's a better person, like my dad always says that his dad used to always say, one day we're going to have a businessman as our president. And now we do. And sometimes I think like it's almost like we're in this ring, right? We're in this boxing ring and you have like Russia and like China and like Iraq and like all these big fucking gnarly fighters, which I wish it wasn't that way. I wish it was like Gandhi and like Buddha, right? But it's not. It's like gnarly motherfuckers that are trying to fuck shit up. So it's like, all right, well, if that's what it is, then we might need a dude like this.
And the reality is,
I'm just trying to look at it.
I know, but it's like if you had Elon Musk. Let's say Elon Musk is let's say he's the guy instead of Trump.
I think would be way better.
But the reality is if it's him, you have someone like that going. If he's not aligned with whoever's really in control, then whoever's in control they're gonna figure out a way to stir society to go against him.
It's kind of scary. Like if it is this, and the Rothschilds and the Rockefeller are trying to get Trump out so he doesn't change shit for the better, I'm kind of scared to see what will actually happen if he gets elected. What are they going to try to do next? But I could be totally wrong about all this, and he could just be, I don't know, what's the worst thing he could be?
Who's that, Trump?
Yeah. Like, what's the worst thing that he could actually be trying to do to the country that's, like, not good?
Well, I think the worst thing
going
is
to
war.
Right,
Yeah.
going to war. Like, just saying, like, fuck you, pissing off other countries. And
He's been surprisingly effective, though. I mean, maybe not surprisingly, but I think other countries, they're like, whoa, this guy's really crazy. Like,
right.
like, look at his Twitter. Have you seen this guy's?
And
Have you seen this guy's Twitter?
It's like a reality show.
We better not fuck with him.
No, but that's the thing. That's why I say
that's what they're
America
saying.
is the reality show for the world. Everybody, look at the Japanese. They want to be just like us. Everybody steals from our culture because we, in a sense, I can see how we are a business. Like we are the reality show of the world. We're not going to crumble because there's
It's so funny, dude.
America's too good to watch.
You want to hear something crazy? All these fucking people, low key, are like somehow like agreeing. Corporations run America, not the president.
They do.
That's true.
Someone said, is the president really the president?
Look at pharmaceutical companies.
The old guard establishment hates Trump.
Yeah.
Just like reading some of these comments. All right, thanks for listening, guys. We have to wrap up because what happens is when it's too big, I try to make the file. I upload the file and I have to like compress it.
Oh, and then you lose the quality.
Yeah. So I can't really go over like this might be.